it's just the biggest. I mean, outside of what happens at AFL level, this is probably about the biggest day leading into the national draft. That and particularly this carnival, it's just an event that no AFL club can afford to miss.
No, look, Andrew, with modern footy, the players do come on very quickly from this championship to play in the AFL. We only have to look at Kane Pettifer playing for Richmond in the main game this afternoon. Kicked 3 goals last week for the Tigers. He won the medal in this championship last year, and he's one of 21 that has debuted already in the first half of this AFL season from the 58 that were taken at last year's draft. So it's an important day for the AFL clubs.
There's the Vic Metro list. David Dixon is the coach to get here. Metro defeated South Australia by 78, of Western Australia by 34, Kev.
Yes, and a couple of good football names. Shane Harvey, number 25, the brother of Brent Harvey from the Kangaroos, very similar to his brother, a crumbing forward, a smart goal kicker, and the name Barham. He's the nephew of Ricky Barham, the son of Bill. He's a tall defender, very much unlike Ricky. There are a couple of the interesting ones. The Metros have won 7 of 12 championships and have been the powerhouse at this level. And speaking of powerhouse, there is the powerhouse. Sam Power is a talented player. Yeah, and the brother of Luke Power. Very different to Luke. Sam's a taller, about a 188 centimetre halfback. He's a left footer like his brother, but very, very skillful. He hits targets with hand and foot. Has had a fantastic championship too, Sammy Power. Well, Vic Country, at the other end of the ground, they're warming up at the city end, and they're in the white jumpers. Let's have a look at their lineup. And a familiar face is the man in the coach's box, Leon Harris. Yes, known as the Mork, played over 200 games for the Lions and has led Vic Country to this title last year. They've won 2 titles in 12 years. There's no love lost, I can tell you, between the 2 Victorian sides, and they'll be very, very hard at it, as the way Leon Harris played his footy. They're a very even side. I think they're suited to these conditions. Some excellent ground level players. Nick Del Santo, number 4, look out for him. A left footer will play on the wing. And Rick Ladson, similarly, he's a Bendigo teammate, a Bendigo Pioneers teammate, will play on the other wing. Very smart players. Tell us something about the skipper, James Bartell, number 14. Well, he had a terrific year 2000. He played in the premiership side here with the Geelong Falcons on the MCG, and he also made All-Australian in this championship last year. The only player to have doubled up, was too young for last year's draft. He had a super game 1 in this series, was best on the ground last week and here at the MCG. Copped a heavy knock in the middle of the week, but you'd expect him to be pretty important. And isn't it fantastic to be able to say that Gary Ablett is back on the MCG? He is in the middle of that bunch of players. He carries number 3, son of the great man himself. Yes, and gee, there'll be obviously some pressure on this young fella in his career, not so much today. Well, he's more like a Greg Williams than a Gary Ablett. He's a ground level player. He's smart at the full of the ball. He sets the play up with his hand passing. He's been very creative right throughout the week. And I'm thinking that maybe Mel Brown's son Campbell might end up on Ablett, because Campbell Brown does play in deep defence for the Vic Metro, and he's got a real hard edge about him, very tight player, but he's a very, very promising player, this young man in his own right. Another of the players to watch for Vic Metro is that man, number 12, Luke Ball from Sandringham. Well, he makes the ball his own, this fellow. He had it 31 times in game 1 of this round-robin series, and then was a good player in game 2. He captained the AIS AFL Academy early in the year against the Irish, where he starred in that as well. He just keeps accumulating possessions. He's got speed and endurance. His father, Ray, played for the Tigers and the Swans way back in the 70s, but he's a different type again. He's a midfielder. Look out for him. Well, Kevin Sheen's got a good eye for talent. Here's another bloke who's got a good eye for talent. Not all of it football-wise. Good morning, Crackers Keenan.
Break it down. I tell you what, it's going to be greasy conditions. I had a look at these sides play on Wednesday, and they were excellent. South Australia played a while ago. They weren't. They were absolutely hopeless. But it's going to be a great game. I was talking to Mork Harris as he walked around, and he's fired up. I reckon it might be a fair game, this. And I'm looking forward to have a look at young Ablett, because, you know what, Geelong have got him in the father and son.
Yeah.
Well, Crackers, if you're any good, and you are good, we know that, you will get an interview with his father today.
Listen, I helped part the Red Sea. Do you reckon I'm a chance?
Well, if you've done that, I reckon you're a huge chance. Yes, yes.
Oh, Andrew, I don't know what you're taking, but get off it. The Australia Post want to hear from you too.
It's all right.
Thank you. Enough of that.
Thanks, Crackers. Let's get the final underway. It is Vic Metro versus Vic Country, and Metro in the darker strip, and they are going to the city end of the MCG in this first quarter. It was Crow who got the first knockdown. Comes down to Dickett's. Got it forward. Some good body work going on in the early stages. Ball wasn't able to get a handle on the footy. And the young man with the footy there is Mark McGough. tackled by 2 or 3 of them.
Already you see a little bit of feeling, don't you? That first contest, there was a bit of push and shove, a little bit of niggle.
And the umpire's going to throw it up because we have had, as we said, quite a bit of rain. Knocked down by Ronaldson. Goes out into the path of Tuck. He was just dispossessed. It's going to be ground level footy today, no question about that. Through the legs of Dickett's. Ball in after it. It's going to be tight and tough.
Shifter, is Ronaldson one of the Ronaldsons?
No, he's not. He's one of 5 players from Gippsland Power, now coached by Darren Buick, who's had a terrific first year coaching after leaving the Bombers. One of 5 players from that area that is playing for the Vic Country today.
Ronaldson got the tap down, but barging through the middle of the pack was Roden. Gave it to Gardner. His hand pass ineffective. Not much happening in there.
Gee, could have been pinged then, I reckon.
Oh, would have been a tough call in these conditions, I reckon.
Ronaldson's opponent, though, Crow in the ruck, is an interesting one. That is Justin Crow, who is the son of Max Crow.
Max Crow, yep. So
Okay.
a lanky sort of string bean like his father. Temperature, it's going to be breezy, but the rain has passed. So let's hope it stays away for the time being. Roden was in there for Metro. Ball comes out. Picked up by Perkins. He kicks to half forward. Desperate attempt there for Metro by Crow. Slapped out of there in towards the middle of the ground. It's a tough ball to get hold of at the minute. Flipped out. Going forward now, the Country boys. Ablett cops one hard. There's ball. Gets his kick to it. There's only been a few kicks so far. Out to the outer wing. It's just into Metro's attacking zone just ever so slightly. Heinrich in front. I'm looking forward to Peter Donegan calling Heinrich a little bit later on.
Why would that be?
Well, I'm not going to take your line from you.
Okay.
And I'm looking forward to it.
So there he is, the young man, Tyson Heinrich from Easton and Yarra Valley Grammar.
Tough start, isn't it, Shifter? Slippery and just sorting themselves out.
Well, and I think nerves in a final, and everyone wants to do well, and they're the toughest conditions to do well. So I think they're going to be right around the ball. A lot of packs until they sort themselves out.
Plenty of body work going on. Johnson coming in, contesting with Ben Finnan there, number 18.
And Finnan's an interesting one. He played in deep defence for the first 15 minutes of the game midweek. Then they switched him forward and he kicked 3 and it was terrific. And they've started him forward today.
Did pretty well to get his left hand to the footy and palmed it down to James Kelly. But again, the ball is very slippery. Players just unable to get any sort of purchase on it, and it needs a big kick to clear this area because it's like that rolling maul in rugby. It just rolls around the ground with a collection of players underneath it. Ronaldson gets it down. Taken well by McGough to Jennings. He was dispossessed. Finnan did well. There's the kick that we were talking about. Now it's out in the clear. Good mark. And that was Jacob Fraser coming in and taking the mark at half-back for Vic Country. Gave it off to his skipper in Bartel.
Collected.
And it'll be a free kick down the ground.
Against Brett Riley.
And whilst this kick is being taken in the middle of the ground by Jared Waite, he kicks it to half forward. Let's go down to Crackers and see who his first victim is for the day.
I've got a blast from the past. Maxie Stevens from X of Channel 7.
Yeah, 20 years at Channel 7, actually, Crackers, but these days working for Ricky Nixon and Flying Start and running his management operation in South Australia and overlooking Western Australia. We've got Todd Viney on board these days with Alex McDonald, and basically been looking at the championships for the week and trying to get a few players. But I've got to say, Crackers, South Australia's effort over the last week has been terrible. They've got to do something about the development of young players in South Australia. I think it's something like they haven't won a game or 2 games in 4 years, and at this level, that's just not good enough.
Have you got any blokes signed up in South Australia and Western Australia in your company?
Yeah, look, going into these championships, we had Jared Wright, number 23 for South Australia, Kane Officer, number 7 from South Australia. The guy that we're also having a pretty good crack at is a guy by the name of Mark Jamar. He was the ruckman for South Australia. He's played 14 games for North Adelaide under Daryl Hart, the assistant coach once of the Crows, and we rate him pretty highly. I think at this stage he'd probably be a first round or early second round draft pick.
Well, I'll say to you, Maxie, get on a plane and go back to South Australia.
Heading back shortly. Good on you, Crackers. Good to see you.
Back to you blokes. A blast from the past.
I might be sitting beside him later on this afternoon, heading over for the game between Adelaide and West Coast at Football Park tonight. We just saw the first score of the match before coming from Steve Johnson. Behind for Vic Country, and that's the margin by which they lead. Now, Kev, it's 20 minutes plus a little bit of time on, but not the time on that we're used to. Is that right?
That's right. So if it goes out of bounds, it's not automatic time on. So that'll probably save 3 or 4 minutes a quarter. So it's the old-fashioned time on.
Crackers just yelling at the players down there, which should put the fear of God into them, really.
Bit of kind-hearted encouragement, I think it might have been.
Terrific stuff by Campbell Brown there. He met it without hesitation, tried to find Kelly. Rosa was at the back. Little up and under kick. Well, it's 20 metres up, 20 metres down, but again, good judgment shown by Justin Davies. He takes the mark at half back.
Just feel like they're starting to settle down now, both sides, starting to find a few teammates with a few possessions. On a long lead then was Johnson. He goes shorter still. Good mark taken by McGough. Plays on, sweeping left handball. Run provided by Johnson, who gave him the kick in the first time. Inside 50 for the first time with a bit of meaning. And the ball dropped short, and in front was Luke Molan, and took a comfortable mark, uncontested. First set shot at goal for the game. What's he like from here?
Well, he's a bloke that can play back or forward, and we did see him in the second half in the middle of the week go forward and kick a couple of goals. But he's normally a backman, and has kicked like a forward.
That is a beautiful kick from right on 50 from Luke Molan. And Country draw first blood here. They've been the more impressive side early, and they get the first goal on the board.
And the youngster from Camperdown, Luke Molan, plays with the Geelong Falcons. They've got seven in the country squad, the Geelong Falcons, managed by Mick Turner down there, the former Geelong champ who made their team of the century recently. He'd be taking a particular interest in these young fellas.
Good work by Steve Johnson there, wasn't it? Gave the first kick, ran to receive, and then banged it inside 50 for Vic Country.
And also good work by Mark McGough, who is the man who's had the footy more than anyone on the ground at the moment. 5 disposals in the opening 7 minutes of the game. Good smother. Those 1%ers, you love to see the young fellas doing those at the early age. Taken by Harvey, and he threw it in the end.
He did flip it up a bit, I think.
We'll see a fair bit of that today, I think. The quick hands, and that one just a little bit too quick. And so it's going to be Steve Johnson, the man that Andrew Marr mentioned. Over on the outer side in front of all the talent scouts sitting up in the Great Southern Stand. Kicks long, inside the 50, big pack flying. Not many players left on the ground. Schuback was one of them. Power. Left-footed to the wing. Bit of jumper holding on going on there. And the holder was Carrazzo, and the holdee was Fraser.
Got a nice shine at it. Shifter, have you seen much flooding in the carnival? Has it been a defensive?
Yeah, I think the South Australians tended to flood. They were pushing numbers back. I think that they've anticipated that based on practice matches that they mightn't have been up to the level of the others, and they've put numbers back in deep defence to try and, I suppose, maintain the damage, potential damage.
Gardner was good to Ball, who's been busy. Kicks it to centre half forward. It's pretty vacant there for Vic Metro. Charging out of defence for Country is Davies. He goes to centre half forward. They look a bit more dangerous, and that's a good effort by Ablett. That is a sensational mark. He was not in position to take that. Shares it wide, does well, good vision and good work to McGough. He plays on, he's tackled, he was probably a bit ambitious. He's got a kick to it. Mark's got to be paid, and it is. And it's Steve Johnson who's come down from half back to provide the target, although wasn't probably providing a target. He was just in best position for the salute kick. It was ambitious stuff by McGough, but it's come off for Country. And let's see whether Johnson can convert here and slip the Country boys out to a 13-point lead if he kicks truly. He looks like he might have just tugged it to the left, and that's probably a pretty disappointing miss.
Johnson working very hard. He's actually started at half forward, but you're right, Andrew. He's picked up his early possessions more toward the half back.
Gee, that was a great mark by Gary Ablett, wasn't it?
How many times have we said that at the MCG?
I know. He found himself in pretty familiar territory.
And Campbell Brown is on him. I think it's about 1-1 because Campbell took a terrific mark in their only other contest a little bit earlier in the quarter.
Good kick out from Sam Power, banged it long. Ronaldson was at the back though, and he hoiks it back in again. Ball comes to the back. Power's there for the crumbs, and he just decides that discretion is the better part of valour. Didn't want to do a U-turn on the slippery ground, and that might have been wise tactics.
Shifter, who would you have been selecting in this game? Are you more a Metro man, or conditions suit the Country boys?
No, I think, look, the Metro missed Chris Judd, their captain, who was injured during the week. I think that they're slight favourites. That's all, just slight favourites, and that's based on practice match form. You've got to remember that they're always different teams from year to year, so you can't go on history, what's happened in previous years. You've got to go on this group of players, and they did win the practice matches by just a few goals and look to have more talent overall.
Yep.
Kick from Ball, not a bad one. Put it out in front of his man Harvey, running onto it. Did pretty well, socket off the ground, used his noggin, or used his foot to kick it, but he used his head in the thought process and gained about 25 metres or so. And we just saw Leon Harris, the coach of Vic Country, sitting up in the coach's box.
Sorry, mate. As Kevin Shoon mentioned, Luke Ball's already had 5 possessions and a couple of tackles for Vic Metro, so he's getting the footy. Ball tossed in. Pack around it. Carazzo ran into a tackle straight away, ran into another one. Dean to have got no. I thought he got rid of the footy, but umpire said no. May have thought about advantage there, but
I think a fair call by the umpy too. He'd had a couple of chances. He went one way, then the other, trying to look for maybe a hand-passing option or a pressured kick over his shoulder. So he had his prior opportunity.
yeah, second tackle. Perkins did well. Go short. Needed to be good, and it was. Found Rosa. It just seemed they're showing good poise, the country boys. They're not blazing. They're taking their time. Davies played on. Now he's in trouble. Gets it back to Perkins. Comes back to Rosa. They share it well. They run to support. Flips it back out to Davies. They've got to clear it out of here. The more they possess here, the more trouble they're going to get in. Good work by Carazzo, forcing the country boys to kick to the boundary. The ball will probably find the line, and it does.
Good pressure from the Vic Metro boys there, Kev.
Yeah, just surrounded them, didn't they? Just didn't allow them to run the ball clear. That no doubt, both coaches, David Dixon, the former Carlton player, premiership player who coaches the Metro, would be emphasising we must put pressure on and not allow the opposition to clear it out of the forward line.
Could have been a high tackle there on David Roden. He was the man applying the tackle, but it was actually McGough who got his arm over his shoulder. Correct call by the umpire, who was in perfect position to see it. Andrew Marr didn't think so.
Thought McGough had the footy.
Well, he did have the footy, but he put his arm over the shoulder of the player, and it doesn't matter whether you got the footy or not, you can't do it.
Well, that's true enough, I suppose.
Bit of shoving going on here, and the umpire's plucked out a free kick. And it'll go to Josh Rudd. Good mop of hair.
I'm very, very envious of that.
You reckon they'd call him Harpo? Out wide, Dicketts gathers well.
Great
Good
chase.
chase.
Yeah.
That was by Andrew Tuck. Got him in the end. Chance for Carazzo, goes over his head. Ryan Brown gathers it, but he's unable to do much with it, and over the boundary line she goes. Kev, what's the general consensus amongst the recruiting people about the depth of talent this year?
Look, I think if you ask probably any of the 16, they'll say that the top 20 is very, very good. And look, I think like every year, it's pretty harder later on, because some of these guys are 3 years away from playing AFL footy. So it's a lot harder to make the judgments. You just even look years ago to Jeff Farmer, say, playing in this championship. Or even back to James Hird. James Hird played way back in the at the start of the 90s, but was injured and only played a couple of quarters. So you never would have known that he was tucked away in there. And Farmer the same, only had a couple of quarters, come off the bench, and you wouldn't have realised that tucked in there were a couple of special players. And so history will tell us. History does tell us over 20 years there's going to be about 50 players running around here.
Josh Fraser, when he was there, was the standout #1 pick. Everyone knew that he was going to be #1. Is there a standout #1, do you feel?
No, I think that there's probably half a dozen as we get to the halfway point of the year that could win that particular, I suppose, honour at the end of the year. Some of those have played in this and some have been injured for it.
No 10, surely. You mentioned Josh Fraser there, Pete. That Vic Country team that year, even though I don't think they won the championships that year, I think Vic Metro might have beaten them. But
WA knocked them over.
WA, that's right. They had Corey and Hazelby running around in that team. That Vic Country team was just sensational. Fraser and Brown, the two Brown boys, Jonathan and Lee, both played in that team, I think.
That's right. But look, things can happen in a week, and Josh Fraser ended up with glandular fever,
right,
so didn't have a big influence in that particular championship.
Crackers, you want to have a bit of an influence?
I've got an influence here. I've got one of the most influential football spotters in Australia, Frank Davis, ex-Hawthorn and now Carlton spotter. What's out there, Frankie?
No, there's plenty of talent out here, Peter, at the moment, yeah.
How's the voice?
Your voice is just about gone. No, it's been... no, there's plenty of talent. There's a lot of good kids out here. Some are better than others at this particular stage of their career, but this is a real good contest, this game, because it's between two undefeated sides, and they're having a red hot go at each other.
Now, Carlton, don't give any away, but who would you be looking at the moment when you've got all these marks on your paper?
Oh, we're just looking at all the best players. I think with recruiting, you...
Name names, Frankie.
Well, I mean, we're obviously looking at young Waite out here. Vinny's young boy's playing out here. He's acquitted himself very well during the carnival, but I think with recruiting, as all clubs do, I mean, you look for the best player, and if he's available at your time, you take him.
Can I ask you one last question? Who was the best ruckman when you were captain of Melbourne you ever seen?
Oh, without a doubt, Peter Keenan was a sensation, mate.
Back to you, blokes. What about that? I've had to give him 100 for that one.
That was a dead set Dorothy Dix, and it was actually young Waite's son who cleared the ball out as we as Frank was talking about, and we saw him get the clearing kick out to Molan. So
Neil Barnes sitting up in the stand. I wonder whether he's keeping a close eye on young Vin White's son. They got acquainted over the years, did they not?
I think he gave him one or two. I think Barmy was pretty frightening back in those days, wasn't he? I think
Still frightening when he gets that mad stare
I'm
happening.
not sure Vin backed away from too many, but I reckon Vin might have given Barmy a wide berth from time to time. Power, that familiar and good left foot that Kevin Sheen told us about, found his man.
And he summed up the options, and it runs on again, Sam Power, but
And again, beautiful
that's
spot
what you
up.
want to see, is that fellas that are clean with their collection of the ball, and they're able to spot the right target and hit a target.
Gave it to Andrew Tuck, who kicked it in towards centre half forward. Is Andrew Tuck the son of Michael?
No, he's not. No.
Any relation at all?
I think you'll find a distant relation.
There's a familiarity about him. Socks down and the long sleeve jumper and the shaggy hair. He's certainly got a bit of the Tuck blood in him.
Son of Fryer, I think.
Thank you very much. Speaking of famous sons, there's Jared Waite, son of Vin. The kick's picked off there by Campbell Brown. It was an excellent effort. Roden goes short. He sets his man a touch. That is a great mark in front of the pack by James Kelly. Led strongly into a pack of 3 Vic Country defenders. Arms up at full tilt. Took a terrific grab. Sized it up, goes short. It's a good lead provided and a mark taken by the big fellow down there, Charlie Gardner. Got to love that name. Charlie Gardner.
And he's a very skillful player. He didn't play game 2. I think he might have had the flu, but was an excellent player on the MCG here last Sunday. Really set up the win by the Vic Metro.
Kicking for the Metros first. Comes in, just pulls it left. How can a Geelong grammar boy be playing Vic Metro? How does that work? Is it all residential zoning?
Yes, it is. It's based on where the family live, and the family live in Melbourne in the Oakley Chargers region.
Okay.
He plays some games for them and mixes it.
If he goes to Geelong Grammar, his family probably own the Oakley Chargers.
Josh Rudd. I think we might call him Harpo.
Yeah, I like it.
Kicks out and clears the defensive 50. Jennings attempts a little hack kick off the ground. Bartel did well on the up. Coming out in defence is Rod Crow. Takes the mark for Vic Metro. They trail by 8 points at the moment. This man's been busy. Carazzo. 4th disposal, now the 5th coming up. Finnan makes a lead for him. Carazzo kicks it to a 1-on-2. Big punch away from the back was by Waite. Doing the tidying up work at the back is Drew Carey. Is that right?
That is Drew Carey.
Andrew Carey.
I think you probably prefer Andrew, but...
Oh, that is a very fierce tackle. It was probably just a little bit too fierce in the end. The tackle coming from Davies on Roden. Told to play on. Turns his man. Goes on the left foot. It's going to be close.
Oh.
Just touched on the line. The Vic Metro boys were probably just in 2 minds, whether to shepherd, whether to take the mark. But in the end, I think they probably did the right thing because it was falling a metre or so short. So it's 7 points the margin, and we have been playing 18.5 minutes in this first quarter of the Under-18 Championships. You're watching it around Australia on C7 Sport, and that wasn't a very good kick-in.
No, it was not. And you're dead right about Ben Finnan in the square there. He didn't quite know whether to set himself or lay body on, so it was just one of those. Roden looked clever the way he went from right foot to left foot, didn't he? He moved the ball cleverly in his hands.
He's the reigning Morrish medalist from the TAC Cup, winning it as a 17-year-old last year. Plays for the Calder Cannons.
So the Morrish medal still necessary. I mean, it sort of lost a bit of its prestige there for a while. It was almost like if you won the Morrish medal, you were kind of a year or two sort of past that right drafting age. Is it still seen to be a really sort of exclusive award at this level?
I think it is now. Back in the under-19 days of the VFL, yes, you'd be an 18 or a 19-year-old that hadn't progressed up through the levels. But these days, the best players, except some of the 17-year-olds take it, but the best 17, 18-year-olds in Victoria, New South Wales and Tassie play in it.
Yep.
Nathan Brown won it just recently. Great play, Ablett then. That's the clean hands of Ablett.
Yeah, stood up in the tackle. It was fantastic stuff. The ball comes in, slides through for a behind. He just looks like he's got know-how. You know, we've only seen a little bit of him, but he's got the footy smarts.
Footy smarts, vision, just awareness, those sorts of words describe people like that. Yep. Seem to know what to do. They do the right thing most of the time when they approach the ball or when they get the ball.
Personality and character and all that is crucial these days. And what sort of kid is he? Is he a good kid?
Well, from what people say, I'm just one that watches from over the fence. They say he's got a terrific character, very quiet young fella, loves his footy, enjoys being with his teammates, and he's got a great passion for the game.
Well, he'll definitely be father-son Geelong. Who's that just without... They probably couldn't afford not to take him, I suppose.
Well, this is the week where I think he's proven that he's up to the top sort of 30 choices, and as the rules stand, Geelong would have to invest their second-round choice to actually choose him. That's the way the rules stand, and
that's about to be changed, isn't it?
Not for this year. That Andrew Dimitriou's made that point clear in public comments that the rule won't change for this year.
Chance here for Vic Metro. Quick, fast break down the middle was by Rod Crowe, and he pinpointed the man. Shane Harvey has the mark. He'd probably be right on his limit, I'd say, with the wet ball. He's going to have to kick from about 45. Man on the mark goes back about 2 or 3. Comes in, he's going to get close to him, and in turn, he's just sprayed it. And trap for young players there, Kev. He just didn't see the man on the mark go back and got too close to him in the end.
Yeah, you just need to keep your eyes on, well, I think you've got to back, don't you, all the time having a shot on goal, and watch everything in front of you, because that is a trap.
And it's part of the reason, I think, that the players do this marking of the ground now when they take a mark at the senior level, so that they've got some idea where the man is going to be. Chain of handballs, pretty good. McGough had been busy. Vic Metro getting it forward again, once again to a 2-on-1. Just been carried forward a little bit in the tackle was Jared Waite, and the ball goes over the boundary line. And gentlemen, speaking of the Morris medal, as you were, do you remember who won the Morris medal in 1994?
Can I say Gary Moorcroft?
He's just come down to earth.
He's still
just received word.
Apparently he had a bit of altitude sickness last night.
That was unbelievable. We'll talk more about that a little bit later on, but the first quarter is over. As we said, it was going to be a tough and tight contest, but it's been a pretty good one, and some of the skills of the game have been on display, and plenty of courage shown by both teams. Vic Country leads it by 8 points, 1-4 to 2 behinds. Molan is the goal kicker. That came at the 6-minute mark of the first quarter, and the goal coming from Luke Molan from Geelong through Camperdown. So it is the Vic Country boys who have the lead by 8 points. A reminder to you, Brisbane versus St Kilda tonight on C7 Sport. We'll come back to the MCG for the second quarter action right after this. First quarter is over at the MCG, and Vic Country have the edge at quarter time. 1-4 to 2 behinds. The margin 8 points, and the goal kicker was Luke Molan. Just the 1 goal, gentlemen, in the first quarter. Here it is.
Yes, and Molan presenting himself in front as the ball come forward. Finished off very, very well. As we'd mentioned, he can play forward and back. Plays with the Geelong Falcons. A lovely finish on that occasion by Luke Molan.
What do they tell you, Shifter? Are you good at assessing statistics?
Well, you can see that the Vic Country are probably over-possessing the ball. That hand passing, 27 hand passes. I think we saw 4 or 5 of those in a row in their back 50 as the Vic Metro put enormous pressure on at one stage. I think we're seeing a pretty even contest overall. It's a bit of an arm wrestle, if you want to call it that. It could be even on the scoreboard. The Metro have had opportunities inside 50, but haven't been able to convert and get the 1 or 2 goals they need to actually draw level. But it's very, very even overall. Mark's pretty even. A set of breaks with the Country. Inside 50s, yeah, the Metro in fact have had 10 inside 50s to the Country 6.
And 2 scoring shots to 5 the other way, so they go completely against the trend of the inside 50s. So that's an interesting statistical anomaly.
There's Leon Harris amongst the Vic Country boys laying down the law at quarter time. And when the boys first went to the huddle, they did as the senior boys do, went to groups, the forwards and the backs and the midfielders. Not like the old days, Kev, when you were playing, you just go down there.
A cigarette.
You had the dictator, and he would be telling you that the one coach would tell you the whole message, wouldn't he? One of the assistants to Leon Harris is Tony Frawley, brother of Danny. Big day for the Tigers here today, but wonderful family history associated with this whole championship.
Gary Buckenara on the right, one of the great champions from Hawthorn. John Hook, who's been at Hawthorn for about 3,000 years, I think.
With John Turnbull leaning over their shoulder, recruiting managers. So I wonder whether they're talking about what they're looking at the moment out here.
I wonder if Hookie's asking Gary Buckenara what it's like in the West.
May well be. We just caught a picture of Tony Frawley with Alan Thompson, another one of the assistant coaches, a former Lions wingman. Played 150-odd games. There they are. Tony Frawley in the foreground with the greyer hair. Alan Thompson on his left-hand side. Members of the selection committee.
Well, let's head over to the other side of the ground and hear what they're saying in the Vic Metro huddle at quarter time.
For a nice lead. What did we say if they're flooding that push-up? Create space behind us, kick over the flood. Ruck Rovers and Rovers in the kick-out state of centre-half back. Brownie must get over to make sure we put pressure and contest over the Eastern. Waiting 10 yards off the contest. Get over and make the contest with them. Put pressure on them. Again, make sure the ball's going through your vision. It's just about through and you put your hands up. You would touch it through. That last one when Dave, that was a goal there. You put your hands up and touch it. It was just going through the goals. That's smart up here. We've got to be there. It's a goal. Benny Finnan. Pushing up and working hard, but the problem is because we're small, they drop their ruckman back. When you push up into the centre, their flood's all into centre-half back. Even though you're there, push back in to make a contest. What's the 1%ers? 48 1%ers. What did we say our goal was? 51 1%ers. What did I say it was going to be? First quarter, it's going to be tough. Second quarter. But if we maintain the 1%ers, we keep to our game plan, keep to working to what we've believed in all week, I will guarantee you this game will turn around. Come on, boy.
So there you go. We spoke about the 1%ers. There's Neil Baum looking on with Michael Malthouse, and 48 1%ers in the first quarter when they're aiming towards 50. And we knew that it was going to be that sort of a game when we woke up this morning here in Melbourne and saw what the weather had been like for the previous couple of hours. So it's going to be played at ground level today.
I wonder if Benny Finnan wanted to say to the coach, and fair go, coach, I would have touched it if I'd have got my hands to it.
Oh, I don't think he'd be saying that sort of thing to the coach. He looked pretty fierce, Dicko, didn't he? Kelly gets it forward in the first kick towards Finnan, twisting and turning, and brings it inside the 50. Chance here. Quick snap on goal is by Gardner, and what a start. 18 seconds that took in the second quarter. And Charlie Gardner gets the goal for Vic Metro, and all of a sudden it's back to a 2-point ball game.
Well, what he said to Finnan's worked. He's attacked the ball, presented himself, and then he did, I think, look for the hand pass, looked right, then left. Nothing was there, and so he's got the pressured kick over the shoulder. This Gardner's all class. He's read that beautifully off hands, and then the finish with a wet ball was terrific.
In fact, both phases of that play, Finnan first and again, they both looked very classy. The Finnan kick, he got good distance and depth on that from an awkward position. Ball sharked out of the middle now by Carey, ran into a nest of players. It's been forced Metro's way. Roden leads in the race. The ball flips behind. He's got a bit of space now. Good pick up. Gets it onto the boot, kicks it to the top of the square. Over the back contest now. He's under pressure. Must clear Rudd. Couldn't. Jennings into lender hand. Gets his boot to the ball. Sends it boundary line way. And a try and catch. It's got to be a free kick. And it is. Free kick paid to Jacob Schubeck. Played it well, didn't he? Shifter, he didn't overcommit.
Yeah, just smart. He anticipated he was going to be grabbed, and he's a long penetrating left footer shooter.
That is a good kick. Ball off hands out of bounds. Right in front of the C7 commentary position. We have played a minute 30 into the second quarter here. There's Leon Harris barking some instructions down the line. Ball tossed in as the Crows and Magpies do their thing here. I'm sure the effects microphone's picking that up. Flip back, Schubeck onto the left boot, into the danger zone. They want to be good here, the country. It was a good effort by Del Santo. He went back with the ball, but ball ends up with it for Metro. Good bit of footy there by Hooker. Spun out of the tackle, kicked it into the path of Finnan. He's being dangerous across half forward, this young fellow. Keeps it in front, does well, knocks it into the favour of Kelly. He picks it up, runs goalwards and kicks a goal. Terrific play by Ben Finnan. Good finish by Kelly, and that is clever stuff.
Well, and just in both of the goals, Finnan's had a major play, but used a different set of skills there. Just was able to sense that he himself was under pressure heading toward the boundary line, and to get it back into traffic, knew that Kelly was in that vicinity and tapped it back right into his running line. Here we go.
Kept it in front beautifully, didn't he?
Puts it in front of Kelly. Great, neat finish.
And aren't they an impressive-looking athletic player, the players that are coming through? I mean, Ben Finnan's got a height about him and he's got some definition in his arms, but looks like any club would think, yeah, we can work on that bloke's body.
Ben's just 17 years of age, so he's got a lot of physical developing to do. That's a terrific. That's Brownie.
Wonderful courage.
We've seen that on many occasions this week. He's prepared us to back in when the pack's coming from behind. He's got a real hard edge, a great courage and a good set of hands.
Reminds me a little bit in the courage department of his namesake, the bloke who carried 26 at Collingwood for many, many years, who had no regard for his own personal safety.
Yeah, there's a big rap.
Well, just the way he approaches the footy.
Just worked hard to get that mark and give it off then, Campbell Brown, doing a good job.
Finnan again at the back, racking up the disposals early in the second quarter, which has been all Vic Metro so far. Kick goes inside the 50, comes to the back. McGough there in defence. He's had a fair bit of it. That's disposal number 10.
Well, I think about making a move. Finnan's giving young Justin Perkins a bit of a touch-up on that half-forward flank. Well, there's the mark from Campbell Brown. That is just sensational.
Terrific. Look, Perkins, he might persevere. He was their best player in the middle of the week, playing at centre-half back. He can play a negating role, and he's quite athletic. But Finnan's certainly got the wood on him in this first 7 or 8 minutes.
Ronaldson got to the front of Crow, got the tap down. Just about to take possession of the ball was the Tyson Heinrich, but he just put the Heinrich manoeuvre on there and just got the ball to the bounce. Is that the one you were waiting for?
You did promise you were going to get it in. That is superb. The Heinrich manoeuvre, ladies and gentlemen. Scrimmage. Shifter, this is all about the future and, you know, the draft and you know, the next wave. But for the two teams and the two coaches, how much of this is about winning this championship?
It's all about winning this. That's what they're here for. They're focused, the 25 players for each team, and their selectors and coaches are all about winning a national title. The byproduct is the draft, and that'll all happen later on. And to be quite honest, some of these young guys mightn't have great days today, but gee, there's a lot of the football season left to go. They'll go back to their state leagues. Hopefully have learned a lot from the experience of playing here in the championships, and will kick on later.
Oh, they simply must. I mean, what an experience for them.
Yeah. Look, an example of that is Jason Saddington just a couple of years ago played in this final and was a thin fellow sitting in a forward and back pocket that you mightn't have really known at the end of the day. You wouldn't have really said, well, there's a league footballer, but 4 weeks later started to blossom, and then 6 weeks after that he was a certain draftee. Just on the way he finished the season for his club at state league level. He was playing for the Eastern Rangers then.
Carazzo got the footy then, but Campbell Brown's work off the football was absolutely sensational. Ball flipped out by Harvey. They're on the way again here. Gardner wheels back into traffic, does a big U-turn, goes in short to centre half forward. The ball's kicked under extreme pressure. Country boys are back. The handball puts his teammate under the pump there. That was Fraser who controlled it well. Then the kick was smothered. Roden in there for the Metro boys. Doing well is Judd. Gets it out. Rudd, I should say. Flipped into the goal square. Rudd's under pressure. Gets it through. Does well. He was under extraordinary pressure then and did okay.
So that means it's a 5-point lead to Vic Metro. Andrew Marr, you called your one game of AFL footy at Football Park going back a few years ago.
I did.
And I think the bloke on the boundary that night
was one and only. Have we got him?
Brian Waldron, football manager at St Kilda. Here he is with Crackers Keene.
I've got Brian Waldron. What are you looking at? You're going to get priority picks, and who are we looking at? You and Mark McClure sitting up here.
Yeah, look, there's some good talent out there. It's a funny draft, Crackers, because probably 3 of the best 10 kids aren't playing in the carnival. Now that Judd's injured and boy Cole from the ace from Northern Territory not playing, and of course Hodge from Geelong. So there's a few others here though. They're pretty talented. Luke Ball and this boy Sam Power, they're good players. There's plenty of good midfielders around for us.
Luke Ball's Ray Ball's son ex play at Richmond and South Melbourne play.
Yeah, Marbles. Yeah, no, look, and he's a very talented boy. His brother's at Box Hill, of course, on the rookie list at Hawthorn. He's certainly in the mix for the top 4 or 5. It depends what people want. I mean, the 2 kids from WA, Sampi and Pollock, they're very good players. They haven't had great carnivals, but they're very talented.
You've been watching it all week. Are you sick to death of watching kids?
No, never. I've been doing it for years. So I actually missed Wednesday, so it's good to see Vic Country for the first time. And I mean, decisions aren't made this week, but it certainly helps you. It's a next level up, particularly today. I mean, the under-18 competition's very good on a weekly basis, but it's good for me to come along. I don't see a lot of it, and nice to sort of, when you sit down at recruiting meetings, have a bit of a feel for it. But really, John Beveridge in our recruiting department make the decisions in the end.
What about the bloke next to you? Does he have any input? The chairman of selectors, the guru of chairman of selectors, Mark McClure, do you have any input?
Oh, look, I mean, Sellers Ramey's got a genuine interest in the game and a love for the game, and that's a great start. And when you've got, years of knowledge and experience, you might as well put it to use. And, yeah, he's on our list and draft committee, which ultimately is responsible for our decision-making when it comes to those issues. So it's good to have Mark's input. And when John sits down in a couple of weeks' time and says, here they are, he'll have a feel for it. So, but he's like me, he knows it's their call, but it's good to see them all before you get to the decision-making time.
Better let you get back to the computer, you and Mark McClure.
Thanks, Brad.
Back to you, blokes.
Here's a goal coming up off the ground. Goal umpire wasn't actually looking as the ball went through. He was looking the other way. But the goal is given. And it is Steve Johnson getting to the back of the pack there when it looked as though Travis Maloney was probably going to take the mark in the goal square. But when we watch this on replay, just look where the goal umpire is facing when the ball goes over the goal line. This might be interesting.
It's a beautiful kick-in shift to the top of the square. That had real territory on it, that ball.
Oh, yes, he's probably, yeah.
I think he realises he got himself into a pretty awkward position as well then.
He might be relying on the blue coat behind the goals to say what it was. But look, Johnson, I've written down 2 things on him: crumbs and goals.
Yeah.
He's noted for that. He does run onto the full of the ball very well. Crow across half-back's doing well,
Really
very well.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was the man who got the footy then and cleared it. Finnan's had a terrific quarter and a great gather too. He cops some attention. He's slow in getting up, Finnan. Ball coming back in his direction, so he was about to get up, but it looks as though he might have got one high, and I think he'll be departing under the blood rule by the look of it.
By the way, I just wish Brian Waldron was a bit more laid back there. I think they're a bit too tense.
I don't think his alarm clock's gone off yet.
Yeah, Mark McClure, I just wish they'd relax a bit.
Johnson, good hip and shoulder. There's
Brilliant.
that man again. Campbell Brown with courage. Handball intercepted that time by Brent Maloney from 50 metres, lines it up and gets the goal. He squeezed it home over the head of the other Maloney in the goal square. So it's developing into a pretty good contest, this. Vic Country has its 3rd goal. We're coming up to the 10-minute mark. There's Ben Finnan receiving the attention, and we might see just how that did occur. Gets a bit of a shove in the back.
Oh,
And,
yes.
oh yeah, accidental boot.
Yep.
Foot into the mush, I think we call that.
And then what about that for courage?
He probably didn't deserve a goal kicked out of that Campbell Brown. That was fantastic, but good footy by Maloney.
Terrific finish, wasn't
Oh,
it?
yeah. Those Maloney boys brothers, I take it?
No, they're
No?
not. To both play for the Geelong Falcons, both from Warrnambool.
Gee, and not related. Or not brothers, at
Not
least.
brothers, and it's the younger one that's kicked the goal. Played very well for the Vic Country at under-16 level last year, and noted for his long kicking, displayed a terrific finish just inside the 50 for that terrific goal.
Oh, that's pretty
gonna
nasty.
be blood.
He's going to have to go off. There's clear evidence there that young Ben Finnan will have to leave the ground. And just when you thought the Metro boys had settled into this nicely, the Country fellas have hit back with a couple of goals and regained their early initiative and ascendancy.
Ryan Brown coming onto the ground. So I've got a couple of Browns out there for Vic Metro. Campbell Brown number 6, Ryan Brown number 19. Couple of Maloneys for Vic Country.
We've got a Jennings and a hooker, so a couple of builders.
I thought hookers played rugby union or rugby league.
Yeah, they do. They play a few other things too, hookers.
Namely,
Curling. Is there a hooker and a
I
curling?
think there might be. Beautifully got out of.
Oh, don't know where I was going then. It's in all sorts of trouble.
Yes, we worry about that sometimes.
Yes, I've got a bit of a prior there. Crow, Maxie's son, thumped it out of the ruck contest, but it was well sharked by Vic Country. They sent it back inside 50. They have just controlled the last 4 or 5 minutes of this game.
And I might tell you too that I didn't bring the list today.
Oh, well, we have to treat this with a bit more respect.
Absolutely. We've got to concentrate on the up-and-coming stars.
This is an elite.
It'll be back next week, though.
Oh, I look forward to it. Josh Dicketts did well. They're forcing it forward again, Country here. They're under the pump. It was Johnson again who's been busy, but Ball picks up the shark crumb and does well, runs into a bit of space, kicks it outside 50. It's a race now. Will the boundary line beat him? But probably not. There's going to be a contest here. Beautiful gather. That was magnificent work by Montagna. Flips it over the top. He's going to get it back here. He does. Good running to receive. Did the work in the first place. Got it back. Good kicking towards half forward. Contest again, ball flipped over the back. Gutterson was half a chance, does well. It's Gardner, met heavily there by Davies, did well, didn't give away a free kick. That looks like something out of an NFL game. That pack, umpire will bounce.
Montagna's off the bench and was one of their very good players on Wednesday. So he's got the fresh legs, he's got brilliant speed, but he's one capable of having an influence here. So to have him up your sleeve and introduce him sort of halfway through second quarter is a bonus for David Dixon.
It's funny, sometimes you can tell with blokes, just from one touch, you can tell they've got a bit of class about them.
Montagna did that for you?
Yeah, I think so.
Brown, just off the side of the boot, probably going to suit his team, mate. Oh, terrific hands there by Riley. Plays on, goes to the top of the square. It's just working his way to the front of the pack with Shane Harvey, and that had his brother Brent written all over it. He just read the depth off the boot beautifully there and had his man out of position and under control all the way, Shifter.
He's a noted goal kicker, sometimes with set shots, more often from crumbs. Could have kicked probably bags of 4 or 5 this week. He's been spraying them around, getting 2 goals and 3, but 2 goals 3, 2 goals 4, that sort of stuff.
Well, he really should kick this. Comes in pretty deliberate and he's knocked it through. It was well read. You often hear blokes with real knowledge and understanding of footy say that you can tell a lot about the player's ability to read the ball off the boot. And it looked here, even though the boot Brown comes in, that was off the side of it. This was a fantastic mark by young Riley.
A terrific spring, hasn't he?
And Harvey had this. This ball was just a bit of a mongrel coming in. Riley just read it better than the 2 Vic Country boys.
And just used his hands, didn't he, to make that little bit of space he needed to take the chest mark. Just push his opponent away, quite legally in the side, in the chest. You can do that just to make that extra yard you need.
They're coming forward again. Kelly bangs it inside the 50. It's come to the back, and now it turns into a foot race, and the foot race is won by Justin Davies, who was able to hack it off the ground into the post, through for a behind, and that's the margin that Vic Metro leads by. 23 to 22, 3-5 to 3-4, 14 minutes gone. Over the years, quite often we've thought that Crackers should be with the doctor, normally a psychiatrist, but this time he is with the doctor.
I've got Paul O'Dwyer, the country doctor. Paul, they've been playing a lot of football this week, the young blokes. How they stood up?
Stood up very well, actually. Crackers, fortunately, we've got a terrific support staff with people advising them on their diet and lots of massage and lots of assistance. And the boys have come up very well, actually.
How many games they play in the week?
3 games in the week. We've tried to rotate them around so they all get a crack, and they've scrubbed up very well.
Are there any hypochondriacs out there?
Only amongst the staff. The boys themselves are terrific. No worries. They're all there because they want to be there.
What about the stress that they're trying to get drafted and that? Do they get under the metal pump at all?
Yeah, they do, but I think we try and push the message that this is only one opportunity to strut their stuff, and they're on show all year virtually, and this year's a bit more concentrated, but they're pretty level-headed kids. They know what they're about.
You went to Assumption College, didn't you?
I did, in very good company, Crackers, including yourself.
I knew you. Head back to you, but we're going to an ugly man competition, us boys from Assumption. Back to you, blokes.
So he went to Assumption College and became a doctor.
Yeah.
One was educated and one...
Then there's Crackers.
Well, it's actually rare to hear of an Assumption College student doing anything in the...
outside the football
Well,
field.
that's right, in the sort of the fields of intellectual endeavour.
Watson.
I'm allowed to say that because we're the only two, Marcellin and Assumption, the only 2 Catholic teams, schools in the AGS, and we've got to rise up against the Proddies and the Methos and all those things.
Methos?
Oh, they're around, aren't they? Methodists?
A question without notice from our director, Mark Lachlan. If that was the Vic Country doctor, does he have a country practice?
Very good indeed.
Those C7 directors, they don't miss a
They
trick.
are funny fellows. Watson did well, danced out of a tackle, kicks it towards Maloney. Ball in dispute. Roden in with a fist. Doing some pretty good work. He's not getting massive numbers, Roden, but he's in the middle of a lot of things. Ball's still alive. Hard up on the boundary line there was Mole and trying to make something happen, but he just ran out of space at the end of the day. Will be tossed in.
Good work from Andrew Welsh there. Good second and third efforts.
Ben Finnan walking the boundary line. Looks like he's pretty keen to get back on. Ball tossed in. Over the back there was Barham. Got a hand to it. Ball down to ground. Jennings got a shove in the back. The umpire didn't pay it. Could easily have done so. Ball gathers. Kicks to the favour of Gardner. Xavier Bordage along Grammar. Boyd Gardner couldn't take the mark, and now they've got a problem. Does well. He's into... Oh, and he's going to get a lucky free kick. It was probably there, but sometimes you think, OK, you've lost a bit of an advantage here by making the fluff in the first place. I'm going to penalise you here. Umpires sometimes do that, but that umpire was above board and gave Gardner the warranted free kick. The kick's long and good, but it clears everybody. And Davies does the mopping up at the back for Vic Country. He's done a lot of good work. Oh, that is a terrific grab. Taken by No, it's not Schubeck. It's McGough, who's been good. Squares it. Unfortunately, Maloney lost his feet. Went to ground. Crow does well. He's been impressive to another one who's been impressive. Brenny's kicks have just let him down a little bit. Schubeck gathers, kicks in towards centre half forward. A pack again, 2-on-1. Down to ground, Ablett was there. Couldn't get the ball. Molan gets a flying shot of goal under a fair bit of pressure. Off the side and out of bounds.
17 minutes, almost 18 minutes gone in the second quarter, and Vic Metro leads by just 2 points, 3-6 to 3-4. Coming to you live from the Melbourne Cricket Ground. Johnson getting to the back of the pack. Slung as he tackled. Dancing around. Taken now by Ladson. Left foot kick. That's not bad. That's pretty handy. And doesn't Rick Ladson like it? And so he should. He's put Vic Country in front with a terrific goal from the member's pocket.
Yeah, he's a brilliantly skilled player, as you saw there. He is a natural left footer. He's noted for those sorts of freakish type things. He's normally clean with his hands. He's a youngster from Golden Square, the club that produced Wayne Campbell, the captain of the Tigers, and Greg Williams come up through that club. Now plays for the Bendigo Pioneers, and that's the sort of thing he can do. He's only lightly framed. He's got a lot of physical developing to do, but he's got the skill level needed to go further in his football.
Shannon Grant won the goal of the week last week with a very similar goal to
absolutely, at Monica. Oh, that was terrific stuff, and I'm glad you said he was a natural left footer, because if he was actually a natural right footer, I'd be drafting him #1 right now. It was a fantastic kick. Good work in there by Barham. He leapt well, hung in the air, and got a fist to it. Haven't been able to clear it, Metro, but they're in again. Ball was there, couldn't quite take it. In hard for Country was McGough, who's done a lot of good work. Barham follows up. Not overly tall for a ruckman, but doing the work. Carazzo just ripped it out of a big pack. Runs to 50, has a shot at goal. This could be an absolute beauty, but it's just across the face. Gee, he did well. He just wanted the foot. He ripped it out. Didn't go to ground, which was pretty crucial, and found himself in some pretty good space then.
11th disposal for Carazzo.
Shifter, the ruckman. There's no giants out there. There's are we not seeing the promotion of the 195, 200 centimetre players, or are they just not out there?
Well, there's not in Victoria just at the minute, but there certainly were some tall players playing in the championship. The best player, second best player for Tasmania was Barry Brooks. The best player being Tom Davison, won the medal, but Brooks
Gary Davison's kid.
Yes, right? Yes, won the Harrison medal in second division with 15 votes. On 14 votes is Barry Brooks, who is the one you described. Right, okay. He is the 198, 199 centimetre ruckman. David Hale from Queensland's a 200 centimetre ruckman. So Mark Seaby from WA. So there's quite a few in some of the other sides, but both of these Victorian sides are a bit light on. O'Keefe is Simon O'Keefe, the Vic Country ruckman who was injured on Wednesday, is the 198 centimetre ruckman. So there's just a few things that have probably gone wrong for the Vic sides and haven't given them the tools that you'd normally see. Okay.
We just saw a blood rule before Guttison went off, and Kieran McGuinness, number 22, came onto the ground. Ooh. Relieving kick by Hooker into the middle of the ground. It was a good manoeuvre by Charlie Gardner. Carazzo coming up for disposal, number 12. It was a handball on the up to Crow. Crow runs to 50, measures the kick. It's going to come to the back, but just over the head of Harvey and through for a behind.
He's been terrific, Crow, at centre half back. He's a youngster with a basketball background. He is a terrific athlete. You'll see his pace breaking away from centre half back. He is 190 centimetres, so that's 6'3" in the old language. but he's had a terrific game to date. We've seen him in the ruck during the week. He's probably not going to obviously play at ruck in AFL football at 190, but I think he has the potential to play in a key position like centre-half back at the highest level.
And Peter Donegan applauding that kick by Simon Roser. He's had 12 possessions, Crow, taken 3 marks, and he's been very, very impressive. As you said, Kevin, he's been fantastic. Schubeck just over in the ball. He went back in and got it, danced in a bit of traffic, did well. There was Hugh Foot, as opposed to Huge Foot. Kicks it to half forward now, and on the lead is Maloney, and takes a strong mark, presented his chest to that footy. Gets the quick handball to Watson, who ran on to support. Ball over the back, he rode and kept his feet and took a good mark. Some exciting stuff going on. It's a tight in and under game, but every now and again you just get a flash of some brilliance from the individuals out there, and they are teaming quite well. Squaring it wide now is the skipper for Vic Metro, Welsh. Said his teammate there, Rod Crow-Atask, who did not flinch, stood up, knew the contact was going to come, but he held his ground and took a good, well, mark or free kick, take your pick. Goes to centre wing. On the long lead, just getting under the ball there was Kelly, who's taken a nice mark already. Off the ground was Tuck.
Just come on too.
Ball nearly prized out of the hands of Drew Carey. He's probably going to hate us for calling him Drew Carey, but we're going to do it.
Wouldn't be the first time, I wouldn't think.
No, they don't often like us. We do. Jimmy Plunkett hasn't forgiven us for calling him Chicken.
What do you mean, us?
Me, for calling him Chicken. He hates that. They're all calling him that down at Carlton there. Flipped over the back. That was Johnson, who's been good. Tackled without the foot. He may have been Dicketts, I think, was in there for Vic Country. Scrap develops. Yet Ian Johnson's been impressive. Shifter, he doesn't mind doing the hard work, the in and under, the body work, the grunt stuff. I think we probably see, we're looking at Ball now, who's all class, but do the recruiters take as much notice of the fellows who don't mind dipping a shoulder and, you know, having a go at the hard footy?
Look, there's just so many things that need to be taken into account, Andrew. That includes the issue you talk about, those that love making body contact, hurting people. Yeah. In fact, find an extra edge if someone runs into them.
Benny Finnan, who's seen the result of that errant back heel into the mush.
And how they react to once put down, whether they've got that real steel in them, the heart to keep wanting to go on. So they're all just little factors that come into the mix.
Barham at the back, Molan at the front, just flips it to the back again. Rosa trying to run onto the footy. Carazzo on the up, gave it to Crow. Pretty hot hand pass, but in the end it was probably a push in the back. Umpire paid advantage. Barham showing some good speed. Gets it up to half forward. Good use of the body at the back by Kieran McGuinness, who turns 18 tomorrow. He's going to have to kick from just outside the 50. He's got a man running on. Decides to go back and kick long. It is a long kick, right on the line. Harpo's got it. Josh Rudd takes the mark and brings it in and kicks it to Schubeck, right half back. Touches the ball on the ground, showed good skills, then a long kick, pinpointed the man too. Did well.
Hands, yeah.
Molan moves it onto an open forward line. Now, if it comes to the back, that's a wonderful handball by Dicketts, off to McGough, and he's kicked a terrific goal right on the siren. I reckon Leon Harris would be pretty happy about that. As the siren sounds, wonderful handling by Dicketts on the up to McGough, left foot snap. Kev, skills at their very best.
And he is a right footer, McGough, showing terrific skill on the other side, but a penetrating kick from Schubeck. Played well in that quarter, coming out of the fence, getting some depth, and Molan presenting himself well across half forward. And then McGough, who's played an excellent game in the centre of the ground, has just pushed down, received.
Saw a goal like that last night where Matthew Lloyd gathered and flipped it to Ramanauskas in that sort of thrusting forward move, and it was very similar. Had no time at all to make a mistake then. The Dicketts, he did beautifully, but just on McGough, 16 possessions, 3 marks, he's on fire.
So at half-time, it is 8 points the margin in favour of Vic Country. Back with our special guest, Mal Brown, in the half-time break from the MCG. Very entertaining quarter of football, the second term, in which Vic Country kicked 4 goals straight and Vic Metro off target kicking 3 goals 6. So the margin is 8 points at half time, 5-4 to 3-8. Kelly, Gardner and Harvey for Vic Metro, Ladson, McGough, Maloney, Molan and Johnson the goal kickers for Vic Country. Gentlemen, I thought that was a very good quarter of footy.
Yeah, an excellent quarter overall, excellent.
For the youngsters.
Did Crackers ever get that high, do you reckon?
Yes, he was in a plane once. Crackers?
Yeah, well, I'm just waiting for the blast. More Harris just gone past. They're pretty confident. They reckon they can go on with it. And I tell you what, the Vic Metro are pumped up. They really thought they could possibly blow them off the park. But the country here to stay is going to be a great half of football.
Kelly got the first kick forward. Comes to Shoeback with a clearing kick to the Great Southern Stand side. Roden first to it. Del Santo did pretty well. Backwards to Ladson, who kicked that wonderful left foot goal, and he just squeezes a kick there between a few, and there are a few leapers. 4 players up, a little slow in getting to his feet, Luke Ball, and the boundary umpire will come in and do his thing.
Including Campbell Brown in that pack. I think the one, Pete, that got the fist on the ball and really wanted to aggressively get it to turf, ensure the country didn't mark it, was young Brown.
He's only got eyes for one thing, hasn't he? The footy. Kelly paddles the ball along in front of him. Finnan might have been taken high. Not for the first time in this match. Quick kick by Bartel. Didn't go too far, though. Only as far as the man we're talking about, and the man whose father we spoke to at half-time in Campbell Brown. Just 17 years of age. It's a pretty good fly at the back by McGuinness, unable to bring the ball to the deck, unlike Gary Moorcroft last night. So you reckon the mark of the year is all over?
It's an open and shut case, mate, I'm afraid to say, for you Collingwood supporters out there. I know that you'll keep talking, tearing up, but that's close to the best mark ever taken in the history of the Caper. I mean, let alone this year. That was just spectacular stuff.
So you don't think anyone will take another one in the next 8 weeks?
Well, let's hope so, Shifter, because if they do, we're in for something pretty special.
I think we've had some special marks this year overall. Yeah. Some wonderful high marks. People saying that the high mark's gone out of it. Well, gee, they're not looking at some of the action that we're seeing.
It's come back with a vengeance, hasn't it? Power, who's been very, very good. He's been clean all day. Every time he's had the footy, that was just kicked to a pack. Mark taken by big Travis Ronaldson. He squares it to Davies. Davies kicks it back to where it came from.
Kick to kick.
Yeah, Power takes the mark. He probably won't make the same error twice. He comes inboard this time. That was a bit shabby. Crow, though, butters up, goes to Roden. Roden kicks it high to centre-half forward. Big pack fly. Man in front. Over the back, Finnan. I thought his teammate McGuinness had a fair purchase on that, but Finnan takes the grab. Goes long to the top of the square. Across to the front is Riley, and he takes the mark. He had his name written all over that.
And good work by Harvey, too.
Yeah, my word, it was, Peter. He took his man right out of the contest, Shifter.
And did it very subtly, too. It's a hard one for the umpire to say, well, that's a Shepherd, who was just sort of falling back a little bit into the lap of his Victorian country opponent. Just see it there on the vision.
Footy smart, that, isn't it?
My word, it was. Riley should go back and pop it through his first, it'll be. Comes in, shouldn't miss and doesn't, pops it through, and that's the one the Metro wanted to start this term. Tightens the margin right up here at the G in the final of the Under-18 Championship. They get the first for the third quarter. We've got a 2-point ball game, and it was terrific footy. It was a great mark over the back by Finnan. I'm sure McGuinness had first claim on that footy, but the Metro boys claimed it. And talk us through the rest of it, Shifter.
Yeah, Riley normally plays across the middle of the ground, but has drifted forward on that occasion. There, he's noted for his high marking in the wing position. He's got a natural spring about him. Had a terrific game here in the first of the round-robin series games last Sunday, playing on the centre wing.
Carazzo, who's been very busy, again from the middle, kicks it up towards the 50. Bit of hanging on going on there, and the umpire spotted it. It would have been a certain goal to Montagne. He was running into the open goal, but the kick will come back and will go to Vic Country, and Perkins will take it.
And like any good Marcelin boy, Montagne would have kicked that goal, Peter.
Oh, Marcelin.
Marcelin boy.
Oh, God. Well, we know what we're going to be hearing about for the rest of the game.
I believe Kevin Sheen's sons, Marcelin alma mater.
Fantastic school, isn't it, hey?
Absolutely.
Brent Gutterson, number 10 for the Vic Metros, also from that famous school. Pete.
Sorry, I just dropped off there for a minute. Kev, what were you saying?
Silvani.
Chance here for McGough. Left foot kick, very clever. Saw the man in the square in Luke Molan, and Molan plays on and kicks the goal. So he's got a couple, and that's a handy one. And very good work again from Mark McGough, who has been a busy player. That was disposal number 16 for him. Molan with disposal number 7 kicks his second goal, and the margin is back out to 8 points.
He's been fantastic, McGough. I mean, the ball was just in dispute here the whole time. He was the first one to get clean hands on it. He was allowed to turn goal side, which, from a defensive point of view, I'm sure the Vic Metro coaching team will be very unhappy with that. The defender allowed him that room to move goal side, and the rest is history. Goal on the board, they get the quick answer. Ball flipped out by Waite. Again, the first clean hands to Vic Country. Leading in the race of the ball there is Ashley Watson. He gathers it well. Clever kick to Ablett. It's been quiet. Good hands over the top. They're a chance to set it up again here. Molan, who's been busy. Ball just over the top of the head of Dicketts. It's in dispute now. Off the ground. Kicked by Hooker. Will beat them all out of bounds. And they'll start again. Good answer to the Country boys, Kev.
They keep answering every challenge, don't they?
Well, there's the handball count. The Country just slaughtering him in the handball. 27, 28, 55 to 27 in the first half.
You've got to calculate.
I'm sure I got it wrong.
No.
I've never added anything up correctly that quickly in my life.
Well, what are you saying about the maths teachers at Marcelin?
Yeah, but Marcelin, like any Catholic boys' school, holds very little stead in the mathematical. I mean, if you can play a cover drive and kick one from 45 out, then that's much more important than being good at pure and applied.
Yeah, right. Let's go down to Crackers, who's got Kelvin Moore with him.
Cal, you been watching this game? Any standouts?
Oh, yeah, look, there is a couple out there. I can't say their names on telly, as you must admit, but yeah, we got our eye on a couple, but hopefully we're not in the position to have the first picks.
Not bad. What do you reckon about the standard?
Oh, no, the standard's pretty good. I think it has been for a couple of years, really. I mean, every time I look at them, they're getting bigger and stronger and quicker. So, I mean, had a look during the week at the Northern Territory and ACT, New South Wales. There's some talent all around.
Now, can you win today?
Oh, I think so. Crackers, I think, you know, if we get it all together, our best is very good. And if we can get somewhere near that, I think we'll get over the line.
Do you see a full back out there as good as you?
No, you've got to look for a centre-half forward who mightn't make it. Then they usually go down there and become a good full-back.
Oh, when he starts talking about things like that. Michael Tuckregley was a great full forward. Back to you, blokes. Fair dinkum. He's got to go back into his Valium sandwiches.
There he is, the electrician, Kelvin Moore. And whilst Kel was talking to Crackers, Johnson has kicked another goal for Vic Country, and this is the biggest lead of the match. 14 points now, very handy in the context of things. Power to Montagna. Kicks it to an open forward line. Finnan running onto it. Can he get a handle on the footy? That's in the back. Untidy tackle in the end. Didn't really need to be quite as untidy by Jacob Fraser, because Finnan was having trouble picking up the ball. And that was either holding or in the back. And he really didn't give himself too much hope of the umpire not noticing it.
It's going to test him as a left footer, and it's not the ideal spot, is it, for the natural left footer, but he is a pretty good kick of the football.
Tell you what, they need it, Kev.
They do. The momentum has really swung to the Vic Country in the opening minutes of this quarter. They've won the ball out of the centre. Some dangerous forwards. Johnson, who kicked his second goal before, has been very dangerous.
Finnan, deliberate approach. Good kick.
Terrific kick.
Just what they needed. He's kicked his first goal. Margin goes back now to 8 points again. Vic Metro 5-8. Country 7-4. We've been playing 8 minutes in the third quarter. You're watching the final of the Under-18 National Championships around Australia on C7 Sport.
And there's Finnan playing the ball just in front of him, being probably rather clever. Probably thinking he's about to be tackled, and rather than pick it up, play a little bit for the free kick. But it was his finish, just, I think, probably the biggest game most of these young fellas have played in to date in their careers would be this one. And then the pressure of a close game, you know, then to go back at a tough angle and able to find the centre of the goals is a pretty good sign of the maturity and the just the smarts of that young fellow, skill level of him. Ben Finnan, well done.
Has he been good for Metro throughout the carnival?
He has. Second game shifted from the back line to the forward line, was vital in their win game 2. First game as a 17-year-old, didn't get a lot of ground time, so probably only had 10 minutes, but been very important in both the other 2 matches.
Ball's touched off the boot. Fraser stood tall for Vic Country, cleared it wide, and they will clear again. Wade, clever kick on the left foot. It was very, very well done to Watson. Wheels inside, plays on now, goes to centre half forward. Big back, nearly took the mark. It was a great effort off the ground. McGough, who's been everywhere. Ball to ground. Del Santo there. He's got to flip it out. He's speculative, finds his man. That's a great kick. And that's the second great goal we've seen from that young man, Rick Ladson. He has got a telling left boot shifter. That was terrific work.
And a well-weighted hand pass from his Bendigo Pioneers teammate in Del Santo. Just had the awareness about him to just look for the right target and slip it out. It's McGough off the ground. Del Santo will come into it in a moment. Number 4 just assesses it, weights it beautifully as he pops it across on the left side of Ladson as well. Made him move on to his preferred left side, and then he slipped it through with a great amount of skill.
That was a beautiful handball.
Carazzo from the middle. Turning into a very good contest this, but Vic Metro need the next one. Perkins pushing back. Educated kick just over the top. Fraser did well, turned his man, got a good shepherd. Kick towards the wing, chipping in though cleverly Roden. He's got a man wider. That man is Power. On his left, good kick into the pocket. And diving in to take the mark, Finnan. Now he's going to come backwards and he's messed it up. He's kicked it 25, 30 metres backwards. Ball, Roden. On the up, Heinrich, back to Roden. Left foot kick to the hot spot. Out come the defenders. Good talking, good cohesive work. Ronaldson able to bring it to the members' side where he's got Schuback in space.
Great kick again.
Wonderful kick. Making position for him was Molan. Now he's got an open forward line in front of him. He's going to kick it on their heads in the end. Johnson showing good pace to get to the ball first. For a big man, he's got a bit of toe. Welsh might have been a little high in the tackle. There's a bit going on there. And Brett Thornton making his presence felt. Mark McGough said, "What are you doing that for?" And so the umpire does the right thing.
On.
That'll sort him out.
It is on. But that will stop it. You're right, Kev. Throw the ball up.
Oh, that's going to be a free kick.
The other thing that'll sort him out is the order off rule. It does apply at this level of footy, and you can even go off for 15 minutes. So you want to be careful on that one, because a good player off the ground at this vital stage could affect the result.
Thornton was the recipient of the free kick for some silly stuff. Gave it to Harvey. And Harvey's left foot kick finds Roden at left half back.
He's getting busy this quarter, Roden. That's going to be his 11th kick. He's taken 3 marks, shared it a couple of times, laid a couple of tackles. Ball flipped over the top by Harvey again. Schubeck couldn't get down to the footy, couldn't get possession. Perkins tackled well, tackled firmly. Umpire will call for the bounce. It's just, you just feel like the intensity's lifted in the last 2 or 3 minutes. I know we say that after we see skirmishes shifted, but the tackling's just got a bit more ferocity about it.
Oh, the game's in the balance. A quarter and a half from the end of a national championship. There's a lot at stake for these young fellas, and they know it.
Kelly was over the footy, copped a fierce bump. Carazzo does well, gets it out. On the burst now is Riley. Flips it over the top, gives it to Montagna. Montagna at 50, looks at the goals, goes for home. That is a beautiful kick by Lee Montagna. And he's given the Vic Metro the goal they badly needed. Terrific footy out of that skirmish out on the centre wing position, and Montagna did the rest. That was a great goal.
And Riley had the poise, didn't he? Just the awareness. He gathered it neatly, sensed that he was too far out of his distance.
This was great. I mean, he flipped it over the top there. That was terrific.
And the bloke who started it off again was Carazzo with a slick handball.
Yep, he's good at getting the ball out of clearances, isn't he? He can find he can find a bit of space where otherwise there doesn't appear to be any. So that was terrific work by the Metro.
They haven't been able to kick 2 successive goals in this quarter so far, the Metro, and they need it here. Even though the margin is only 8 points, Vic Country have been able to come up with the answers. Could have been a high tackle applied on the player at the bottom of the pack there, and that is Luke Ball. He thought so anyway. Umpire didn't. Secondary bounce coming up, or it'll be a throw up. And there it is in replay.
That could have been the push in the back there, I think.
Push in the back, or maybe high. Could well feel hardly done by. Holding the ball, said the umpire. Montagna. Power.
Let's watch him spot his target here. He's a beautiful kick, this fellow.
He's got men this side if he wants to switch. Roden runs in short for him at half forward.
Waiting, there's nothing obvious for him. It's very congested. Just goes short. Doesn't panic. Doesn't panic.
Don't kick to a contest. That's the rule. Harvey turns his man 45 metres, unloads a big kick, and just misses.
Gee, there were shades of the older brother in that, weren't there?
Very much like him. Those quick legs pumping like pistons. Brother of Brent. Young lady enjoying the action as the crowd builds here at the MCG. And let's check the score. It's 7 points, the margin. As that is a wonderful smother. There's those 1%ers we were talking about. Heinrich. Here's Montagna again. Look at the pace of the man. Can he kick another one? Oh, just missing again to the left.
She was exciting running.
When he hits the accelerator, doesn't he go?
Some fellas are quick, some have got breakaway pace. I think he's got that breakaway pace, which is a great attribute. There's something special about him.
Quick with the footy, isn't he?
Yep.
6 points the margin, 6-10 to 8-4, 15 minutes gone, third quarter.
Rudd plays on from the kick in, shares it with McGough. McGough goes short, finds Fraser, who's been okay. Gave away a free kick from which a goal resulted, but he's recovered from that. He's been a good contributor. Big fly out the back there by Mole and couldn't take the mark ball out of bounds. This is developing into a terrific game. I hope you're enjoying it at home. We are here. There was the replay of the Mole and fly.
I'll tell you one thing, though. We give the C7 people a rap. There's one area where they're falling down.
Go on.
The C7 heating guys. Where are they?
I don't know. I don't know. Where are the C7 coffee girls? Or guys, for that matter? We've been accused of sexism in the past, and we don't want to be accused of sexism again.
But we probably will be.
We probably will be. We make no promises. We give no guarantees. Roden over the back with the spoil.
What I was trying to say was it's cold.
It is cold. I think it's about 4 degrees in Melbourne today. So if you're thinking about coming down for the day, I suspect you
bring a coat.
Should think again. Heinrich couldn't give us the Heinrich manoeuvre then, Pete. He was wrapped up in a tackle. He's pretty ferocious, Kevin.
Yeah, quick and strong. Hasn't won a lot of the footy today, but is competing hard at ground level.
Good work in there by Harvey again, who's just lifted his rating, kicks it to Finnan, who in a very awkward position took the mark, probably played on out of bounds, but it didn't matter. The free kick's going to be paid down the ground. The mark was taken by Gardner anyway. He can go short. It was a poor kick in the end of McGuinness. He kicks it back over his left into the hot spot. Danger here if for Country. They must clear it. Good work. Good work by Rosa. Caught the tackle, just given enough time to get rid of it. Ball in dispute again. It's a tough footy. No, it wasn't McGuinness. It was Ball again. Looked like he could have been shoved in the back. Oh, and then got the elbow in the back of the neck there. We saw that. Given a nice. There was a shades of Vinny Waite about young Jared Waite there as he worked young Ball over.
Good to see Ball, as he normally is, under every pack. The last 2 ball ups, he has been the player wanting to win the footy. A bit stiff not to have got a free kick there.
Gardner to the top of the square. He's outnumbered the Vic Metro boy. Schuback keeps it alive. We've seen that he's got a good left boot, and that is no exception. He kicks it about 55 metres to centre wing position. Metro have got the numbers. Breaking clear is Brown, just off the side of the boot. You could see what he was trying to do, but the execution let him down.
Let's go down to Crackers.
Got Betty Roden here. Now, what's your interest in this game?
Oh, my brother's playing.
How's he going?
Oh, not bad.
What number is he, 15?
Yeah, number 15, David Roden.
Have you been to every game this week?
I have, actually. Yeah. Played in Geelong, and then the first game was here at the MCG.
Crackers, tell her her brother's just kicked a goal.
Your brother just kicked a goal and you missed out. You've been taking photos of him.
Yeah, I have.
Crackers, you've ruined their day. Watch the
my
replay.
big frame is in your way. We'll send you a tape.
Hey,
Crackers,
thanks.
get her to watch the replay.
Watch the replay. You'll be right when you get home tonight.
Oh, thanks.
Now, do you think he'll get drafted?
Hopefully, yes. I think he will.
Gee, there was a lot
it's all up to him, though. It takes, one day at a time. He's taking it one day at a time, so we're pretty proud of him.
Which team would you like him to go to, and what would he like to go to?
He doesn't really mind. He just loves to play the game.
Now, what origin is Betty, you and David come from?
Fiji? Yeah.
Now, they play a lot of football over there, don't they, somewhere in Fiji?
Rugby.
Rugby. Oh, well, I was close.
Yeah, very close.
But back to you, blokes. I just made a fool of myself once again.
And there's a bit going on here. Crackers in the middle of the ground. There's several players involved in an altercation. Now they're splitting up as Finnan takes the mark inside the centre square. What about that? That was a good piece of timing, wasn't it?
Oh, yes.
Finnan's kick into the pocket. Great hands. Wonderful mark by McGuinness. Had the foot in the middle of the back, but he was still able to arch the back and take the mark. Scores are level at the moment. This could put Vic Metro in front after they trailed by 14 points at the 9-minute mark. And what a birthday present this would be for him if he could be part of a national championship team. He turns 18 tomorrow, Kieran McGuinness. from 30 metres, close to the man, but he's got the goal, and Vic Metro are 6 points up at the 19-minute mark of the third quarter. It has been a terrific game of footy. Hope you're enjoying it wherever you're watching around Australia on C7 Sport. Special comments from AFL National Talent Manager Kevin Sheehan.
Yeah, and it swung, has it? It's just in the last 5 minutes we thought the country were about to start to sum up, and so the country looked to have answered every challenge, but the Metro have risen. I think even a couple of the skirmishes, maybe the country boys have been sucked in a little bit and lost track of what the job at hand was to continue to play good football, which they've done. McGuinness, who'd started on the bench, has provided a burst, and Montagna would mention. They were the two, I think, good players from Wednesday's game that David Dixon's had up his sleeve, and they both provided a lift this quarter, along with Roden, who gets it out of the centre of the ground again.
He has lifted young David Roden. He has been fantastic in this quarter. Josh Jennings, the captain of the Vic Country team, might be sensing that this game's starting to slip away, and his attack on the footy at that centre bounce, that restart, was absolutely fantastic.
Ablett coming back onto the ground, and he's by himself at the moment.
Could get a chance here if the country boys can just get the hand. Barham with a good handball over the top to Harvey. They share it well. There's Ablett. Can't lay the tackle. Brown stood up in it. His option, the only option he wants is the footy. Kept it in front. Did very, very well. There's Jennings again. Maloney. Handball. They really need a steadier here now, the Vic Country team. Tackled in possession. The umpire can't ping him for that. Kept it alive. Kept it away, Drew Carey. It was good football. He didn't give the Metro boys a look at it, and made sure that the worst possible result was going to be a bounce. In the inside 50 count. Harvey in there for Metro, flipped out. The back could have been a throw. Montagna couldn't get a hand on it. Ball could. Centre half forward. Mark not taken. Down at ground. Rosa wheels into a bit of space. He can go wide just off the side of the boot. The kick to Del Santo. Bounces pretty well for him. He's got a bit of time. He's corralled. Runs around the man. Goes short to Jennings, the skipper. You can just see that he started to sense that something might be happening here. I beg your pardon, Bartell's the captain, not Jennings. He goes to centre half forward. Terrific mark there by Gary Ablett. That was a fantastic grab. Almost the exact spot that he took his very clever mark in the first quarter. Goes short. He likes to share it. He does well and finds Molan, who's been very, very good.
Yeah, Crow and Molan have had an interesting duel, haven't they? Crow's provided plenty of rebound for the Vic Metro, but at times Molan's been able to get away from him and present himself across that line.
He's kicked two, Molan. This will make him the most prolific goal kicker on the ground if he can kick his third. It's from just inside 50. Looks like he's pulled it left. It was a pretty ordinary run-up and a pretty ordinary kick. Got way too close to the man on the mark, and that's a poor result for country.
So the Metro boys are going to bring it out through Roden, the man who has lifted. A Fijian origin. Showed it to his man, turned him, took a couple of bounces, kicked it to the wing. Little handball comes to Davies. He was wrapped up by Montagna in a good tackle. Some fierce tackling going on. Shoeback applied a tackle when the man was nowhere near the footy. Look at Roden dancing around on the left, kicks it up to half forward. Finnan did cleverly. The ball bounced, didn't do him any favours at all. Carazzo getting in, knocks it on about a metre or so. Just kept the ball alive, importantly. Then he's in for a second effort. Jennings gave it off. Ladson may have thrown it. In the end, it came out to Waite. Waite to a 3-on-1 contest at half forward. Molan had to be very good, applied an excellent tackle. Ferocity of this game has been terrific in the second and third quarters, especially in this term. Montagna in the middle of the Melbourne cricket ground. Took his man on. Touch ball comes to half forward. Taken by Ball. Gets it on the up to Kelly, to Carazzo. Little left foot kick. He had a couple of men in space. One of them is Ball. Turns around on his left foot and kicks the goal.
Wonderful finish.
Terrific stuff. Great team play by Vic Metro. And they increase the lead now out to 2 goals. So it's been a 26-point turnaround from the 9-minute mark of this quarter. Metro leads it by 12 points.
And hasn't he worked hard, this Luke Ball? We mentioned how often he's been under the pack. He's been doing all of the bullocking, all of the hard work. On this occasion, he found some space, just enough space for him to be able to collect the ball. And then his non-preferred left side finished magnificently. Look, he's had 5 tackles to be one of those body players that is in every contest, but he's also had 15 possessions and been a very important player.
And I keep on saying it, but Carazzo again was the playmaker.
Absolutely. Jordan Barham was very good in the ruck contest and just has Rick Ladson was bursting goal, and it could be on here. The umpires will want to get in and make sure this doesn't flare up. I don't think it's going to.
What happened there, Andrew, was that Ladson, when the siren sounded, grabbed the ball and threw it straight into the head of an opponent. And that was a little silly. It could have been inflammatory.
Well, as Kevin Sheehan said, it looks like the Country boys have just taken their eye off the footy. This is not resolved yet. There's still a bit of pushing and shoving. Umpires staying out of it, letting the players sort it out themselves. I don't think there's too much in it. Young Waite's in there again. He's been a bit distracted this quarter. He needs to get his eyes on the footy, get his mind back on the contest. The Metro boys, you just sensed by looking at that, particularly young hooker, they reckon they might have him here. Here's the incident that Peter Donegan referred to. The siren sounded, throws the ball at Montagna. That's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And before the coaching staff get out here, it looks like to me young James Bartel, the captain of the Vic Country boys, has called them in and said, look, he's probably saying, look, fellas, that's not good enough. We've a chance to let this game slip. We've got to get it back on track.
Yes, telling them to keep their heads. Well, in that quarter, 6-2 to 3 goals straight, and Vic Metro are 12 points in front. 3-quarter time in the championship. The young talent on display at the home of football. A very good standard contest. 6-goal quarter from Vic Metro. They lead it by 2 goals. 9 goals 10 to 8 goals 4. And importantly, they've got 9 individual goal kickers. Andrew Maher and Kevin Sheehan. That means they're sharing the workload around and they're doing it very well.
And Ben Finnan's been an important player to them. Here we see him taking a mark on the 50. Kicking on his preferred left side. And then it's
young Riley.
Riley, who's drifted down from the centre wing, taking a good grab and finishing with a good goal. This is part of the comeback halfway through the quarter.
That was actually at the 2-minute mark, Kev, so that made the difference 2 points, and it was then that Vic Country got a bit of a run on going.
Yeah, you felt like they just sort of steadied, didn't you, Shifter? Johnson got on the end of this one, and you just felt like they sort of answered that early challenge from the Metro boys and kicked a couple themselves and stretched it back out to about a 3-goal lead. And it looked a bit dangerous for the Metro team, but boy, is that when they kicked into a top gear. They found another lever and away they went.
It's still the Country as they in the first part of the quarter. This will be Del Santo giving across to Ladson. Ladson, the left footer, finishes magnificently, the second of his goals.
We saw him just lose that bit of control at the end. Has he got a temper? He looks like a pretty fiery...
I think Montagna just gave that little bit of a shove after the siren, just enough on the shoulder, and he's reacted in a rather strange way. He normally controls himself pretty well. This is Montagna here. Provided a terrific lift. We mentioned he's come off the bench and had 9 or 10 possessions, so great dash and and also has got that goal-kicking ability good for a wingman to have.
Finnan to McGuinness, it sounded like something out of a Gaelic footy team, didn't it? Playing for County Cork.
Good grab too, wasn't it?
Oh, it was. And a good finish. As you said, under pressure, Shifty, you get to see a bit of the inner workings of a player at a time like that, and he went back and kicked the goal. Could have easily missed that.
We keep saying that people keep asking about what recruiting officers look for. It's just not one thing. It's all of the things that are in the makeup. And Luke Ball, cool under pressure, on his non-preferred side, been terrific in this contest. All of those things that he has shown are what people look for all the time. How you react in certain situations. And, did the Metro respond very well to a difficult situation as it was halfway through that quarter.
Inside 50s there, Shifter, is that the most telling statistic there, 35 to 23 Metro's way, or is there something else of real significance you see among those numbers?
They're all fairly tight, aren't they? Handballs, the country probably overusing the ball with 74 hand passes to 49 in slightly slippery conditions. The rest are fairly tight. Their efficiency rates are about even at 87 to 88. Balls in dispute. They're all wanting the hard ball, no doubt about that. They're all putting their bodies on the line. They sense the importance of this particular game. Not a lot between them. The game could go either way, and we'd expect the way it's gone that the country will respond.
Yep. Tell you what, there's a fair bit of pressure down there at ground level. We'll find out about that in a moment as Leon Harris makes his way up to the coach's box. Crackers will be able to tell us more in a second, but they're almost ready for the start of the final quarter now. So going into the last quarter, it is Vic Metro by 12 points. Crackers has just sprinted back across the ground. Now, what happened there at three-quarter time, Crackers?
Well, Mork Harris knocked the microphone away and then spun away and didn't want to have a go at it and really got into his players, turned away from the microphone and the camera and really did lay it on the line. I ran over to the Metropolitan and they were absolutely upbeat, ready to go. David Dixon screaming and saying, one more quarter from you blokes and we've got this. And a fair bit of pressure. I've never played a lot of football against Mork Harris. I've never seen him like this before.
Well done, Crackers, right on the spot there. So plenty of tension. There's a lot at stake. The last quarter is underway. Carazzo to Heinrich as Vic Metro come forward. Could have been a shove in the back. Country defenders getting to the back of the pack. Well done by Rosa. Brings it out to the man Ladson, who was a little frustrated at the end of the third quarter. He'll want his left foot. Handball over the top. Pretty good. Good 1-2 happening in Vic Country. Able to bring it away now. But look at the commitment to the football. Schuback felt that commitment from the Vic Metro players and he's slow in getting up. Carazzo again just lost the handle on the footy. That's disposal number 21 as he got it back. Wonderful vision. Montagna over the top to Harvey. Harvey can play on and he can make it a 3-goal margin. Instead he goes short. He didn't blaze away. Beautifully done. And Finnan strolls in and kicks the goal. And that took 1 minute and 5 seconds. Finnan's got his second goal. And what an important goal that was. And that could be a morale sapper, Kevin Sheen, for Vic Country.
Yeah, it's the break that they wanted. Campbell Brown, I liked his crumb. He was the one down across half-back that gathered and got the ball forward. But then players were on their own. I think the Vic Country have just lost their way there. Harvey on his own, Finnan on his own. Terrific teamwork with a pair of those.
Andrew Carazzo, 21 possessions, 4 tackles. He has been a real initiator for the Vic Metro boys. He's been terrific, and Leon Harris has got his problems now. He needs to get somebody in the middle of the ground who can start generating something. Ball again. He's spun out of a tackle, spun out of a bumper. Was great to Power. He gives it inside again, follows up, runs to 50. He's got the goals inside. He goes for home. It's going to bounce through. That was all class out of the middle of the ground. Bell to Power, ball to Power, and that was just magnificent footy by the Metro boys.
While we're watching that on replay, Kev, let's go down to Crackers Keenan, who's got Gary O'Sullivan with him.
Yeah, Gary, I'm just running up to Gary now. What do you think about this game?
Well, being a Victorian country boy, Pete, not too happy with it now. The Metro boys have really certainly taken the lead and doing very, very well, but it looks like a very high standard game. But obviously there's some terrific players out there, and the recruiting boys would be rubbing their hands with glee, I'm sure.
Now, there's a rumour going around the ground. There's a few changes on both sides. You wouldn't want to elaborate, would you?
Now, come on, Pete. The teams go in at 1:30. If I gave you that information, I'd probably get my head chopped off at this stage. But we've got 1 or 2 under a cloud. So have they. So, but I'm sure whatever side, or both sides, when they take the field, should be a real good old ding-dong battle.
Better let you go and sit and watch this and get back to your recruiting bloke.
Okay, thanks, Pete.
Well,
I think there are a few changes in the main game, but I don't know.
All right, Crackers, well, we might see if we can get back to you on that one, but in the interim, we just saw some wonderful work here from the Vic Country boys, especially from Gary Ablett, was able to find the man in space. That man was Hugh Foote, who kicked the goal and reduced the gap to 18 points. And the rain looks as though it is about to come again here at the MCG, so an 18-point lead might be a pretty handy one.
Yeah, it might be, although Country, you feel like they're just going to roll the dice one last time. Wade stands up in the tackle, breaks one, gets around a second. Mongrel kick, but it's got some distance to centre half forward. Big pack mark, can't be paid. He tried to claim it. I'm not sure how or why. It was very, very ambitious. Montagna runs onto it. He's been terrific in the second half, and that is great vision and terrific execution out wide to Power. We've seen him use the footy pretty well all day. This should probably be no exception. Runs his full measure, goes to centre half forward. In front, taking a good mark, not paid to Gardner. Country are going to rebound. They go back to centre half forward, over the back. Terrific grab by he has been terrific, McGough. That was fantastic. He's got an open square. He can go long. Getting back now is Crowe. He goes short into the path and finding Josh Dickett. Oh, what about the mark?
Pretty
terrific
handy,
stuff.
Been terrific, whether he's played in the centre or up forward or on the ball. McGough,
yeah, he's been good. He had the sit, but he had to do all the right things from that point. He did. Huge kick in the context of this game for Dickett. Against the flow, when Metro kicked that first goal, you just felt like they were going to run away with this, but Country have answered. This will give him the second one.
We've seen both McGuinness and Finnan, left footers, kick it from about this spot, so maybe the breeze is not going to be a factor. They've kicked it dead centre from difficult angles earlier in the match.
Just his third kick of the match.
Taking his time. Looks pretty good. He's got it. He likes it. And that is a crucial goal for Victoria Country. They tighten it right up here. We're back to a 12-point game. And a game on.
Well, just when it appeared to be slipping right out of their hands, they've responded. Hugh Foote kicking a Rovers goal. He's a young guy that we haven't seen a lot of this week. Had an injured shoulder coming into it. A very good goal kicking forward for the Bendigo side. So it was that crumb and then a goal to Dickett's. All of a sudden, the game's red hot again.
We've seen 4 goals in 5 minutes at the start of this last quarter. Finnan and Power for Vic Metro and Foote and Dickett's for Vic Country. So the game and the championship very much alive. Molan wrapped up in the middle.
Just love the Country to get the next goal, wouldn't you? You just love it.
Yeah, well, there's plenty of time left. Only 6 minutes gone. There's maybe a young fella who might be playing here in a few years' time. These young men dreamt about playing at the MCG, and they're getting to fulfil the dream for the first time here today, and many of them will grace this famous arena in years to come, including that man, probably Sam Power.
Wouldn't disagree at all. He has had a sensational 3 games, Sam Power. We mentioned earlier in the telecast the brother of Luke Power from the Brisbane Lions, but a different type, a left footer the same, but just a lot taller and magnificent user of the football.
Rosa fell over, did pretty well though, had the presence of mind to knock it forward. Carazzo ran at the man, not at the ball, applied the bump, comes backwards to Kelly. He goes inside the 50. Rosa, good fist from behind without interfering with his man. Look at that tackle from Carazzo. Slinging his man and getting the ball to the boundary line. Carazzo's stats, 13 kicks, 9 handballs. He's taken 1 mark. He's applied 5 tackles. He has been a playmaker.
And if Rex Hunt was here right now, he'd say it is fair dinkum as black as a dog's guts out there.
Thank you, mister. Carey threw it in the end because he was pinned by 1 hand, and you can see the rain is starting to fall. It is as dark as it's been here during this match. As Vic Metro come forward again, Finnan got to the front spot. Ball spills to the back. Riley was taken high in the original contact. That's an untidy tackle within 25 metres of the goal by Jennings. And really, this could just solidify the situation for Vic Metro again. No question it was a high tackle, and now he's got to go back and bang the goal.
Poor tackle, wasn't it, Shifter? I mean, it goes without saying, but just in this, with the game poised the way it is, he just had to be better than that.
Yeah, endeavour's important, isn't it? But it must be control and aggression, but it must be controlled. Got to get in around the hips and the lower thighs.
Perfect view of it from right behind as Riley comes in and kicks from 30 metres and gets the goal. And Vic Metro once again lead by 3, and it is really raining heavily now. He's got a couple, and a 3-goal lead, as we've already mentioned, a very handy one in these conditions.
It is teeming down. It's horrible stuff. You will see the tackle again by Jennings. He just didn't get down. He wanted to stand up high in the tackle, and as soon as Riley got his base down, Jennings had to go with him, and it was disappointing to concede one like
Tommy
that.
Hayford say bend the back, son.
Yeah.
Bend the back.
Yeah,
bend the back
down.
and get down low. That's just slack.
Yeah.
8 minutes gone in the final quarter.
It's a huge contract now for the Vic Country boys. They need something very, very special from here. Jennings wants to make amends. Takes the hard footy, stands up in the tackle, shares it nicely. I think that was Bartel who got his foot to ball. They need to find something. Ablett stood up, copped a bump. Campbell Brown, who's been very, very good, out to Montagna, who's been outstanding after the long break. Onto that right foot, he goes long and direct, sets him a task, chipping in, taking the mark, is Simon Rosa, who has been okay. He's just made a couple of little wobbly ones late in the game.
Tenth disposal.
Just a kick, buttering up now, does well, is Drew Carey. Ball chopped off with Montagna. Slips, but gets the handball out, finds Heinrich. Heinrich breaks 2 or 3, shimmies through a lot of tackles. He spots it up in the pocket, taking the mark is Riley. And that was fantastic football by Heinrich. Declare him shifter, yes or no?
Well, wet ball from the boundary. He is a right footer, and he has shown during the week he can kick a goal.
Well, he's got 2 to his name already
He's
today.
got to be 4-1 from there, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think the tide might be in his favour.
Any interest, Crackers, at 4-1?
Crackers has always got interest at 4-1. In comes Riley. It's a good-looking kick off the boot. It's just staying out to the right. Oh, no, he's got it.
He kicked it.
He's
there
got
you go.
it.
Not a taker at 4s, but that was a magnificent kick in the condition from the boundary line. I suppose we should have anticipated that. We've seen some wonderful goals today. The skill level of kicking for goal has been terrific from both sides. And on that occasion, it was Brent Riley from the Calder Cannons that finished. He's playing on the wing, prepared to work forward, shows he can take a grab. That's a magnificent finish.
I don't know what I was looking at, Donners. That was never, ever, ever going to miss.
And our C7 cameras were right behind it. 24 points the margin. Knocked down in the middle by Crow. The ball becoming very slippery now. You would think 24 is enough at the 10.5-minute mark of the last quarter, but the Vic Country boys will be giving it their all in the last 10 or 12 minutes or so. There will be a little bit of time on, but the quarters have been going around about 23, 24 minutes. Kelly was first to it. Carazzo applies the tackle as the Vic Country boys get it forward, but only as far as ball. His handball goes out wide. He was looking for Welsh. Ball still in dispute here, taken by Maloney. He bangs it forward in a hurry. At the back of the pack, Dickett's almost took a miraculous mark. Just trying to get a handle on the footy was Watson. And the umpire, boundary umpire, said it just spilled over the line. So it'll be thrown back into play around 10 metres around from the right behind post. Last roll of the dice, you would think if they get a goal here, there's still a bit of a hope. If not, looks as though Vic Metro will be sailing towards the championship. Look how slippery it's getting. Johnson able to keep it in play.
Oh!
Don't tell me.
Oh,
gee, that would have been the greatest miracle goal of all time. He was slung as he kicked it, and it's only just missed. Watch this.
Great work by Heinrich. He just got a handful of the jumper and ripped him off the footy, and it's just about slung through for a goal. Clearing it along the outer wing now, the big Metro boys. They're doing well. You just feel like they've done enough. Ooh, it's a pretty ordinary effort by Crow then. Yes, no, you can get yourself into a bit of trouble there. Fraser doing well. He's been committed. Rosa tackled, breaks a couple, flips it back. They need to get a couple quickly. They need to get 2 in about the next 3 or 4 minutes, or this championship is slipping away from them. Schubeck, better on the left. That was pretty ordinary. Roden runs onto it and takes the mark, and he's been very good since half-time, this boy.
His sister was saying that he was from Fiji, and I thought, gee, there wouldn't have been too many of those played, but Fatuia Tata.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned Fatuia Tata, and we did mention Fatuia Tata last week, Paul Di Martino, on the VFL coverage.
He was Fijian, wasn't he?
Absolutely, or Samoan. One or the other. Ball goes in, play goes on, Tommy Hooker clearing, and is it a free kick to or against Ablett? Ablett came in late, hit Hooker hard. Bit of pushing and shoving behind there. Looks like the Country boys have really lost their composure here. They've just been outplayed in the last 35 to 40 minutes of this game. Barham's got the ball.
We've got a third contender, maybe Tongan.
Oh, he could have been Tongan too.
I'll ask Jared Healy in a minute.
He knows everything. Great work by Montagna. He uses the ball beautifully. This is no exception. And Finnan, who started it all for Metro today, might finish it with his third goal. He's going to kick from about 40 metres out directly in front. And on revealed form so far, Shifty, you'd just about put this one down.
He's kicked magnificently today, as he has during the week. He's nicely balanced, and he's a boy that's come up through the AFL Academy, and both Terry Wheeler and Mark Browning this year spent a lot of time on kicking technique. So they had video analysis and went through all of the, I think it was 15 different things you need to look into with your kicking. All the little things.
Oh,
and you'll see him go through this routine here. So
it's got the Joel Garner run-up happening.
The grip, the head over the ball.
A lot to think about.
The taut instep.
And he still kicks it off the side of his boot.
It is a wet ball. But look,
where's Bruce Andrew when you need him with the taut instep?
Nothing wrong with the technique. It's just slipped a little bit, hasn't it?
He's done it well today. And there you can see it's still on. Well, sons of famous fathers.
Saying hello.
Son of Mel, son of Gary, getting into it. Brown and Ablett. That almost a mark to Dicketts at the back of the pack. Power. Bangs it back in again. And that's a very good mark with a wet ball to Charlie Gardner. He had to wait underneath it. Hard ball to judge, floating towards him. And eventually took it up near his shoulder. And he should do what Ben Finnan was just unable to do a minute ago.
Shifter, I sense you're a bit of a rap for this boy.
Yeah, that's his sixth mark in difficult conditions, playing in a hard spot across half forward, where you're always going to have a defender wanting to punch it away. He's got poise and class, this fellow.
And he's also got the goal, Kev.
Terrific finish.
It's all over now.
It's all over. Just celebration time for the Vic Metros.
He's got a couple, 95 to 65, 14-11 to 10 goals 5. And we're watching replay again, almost a mark to Dicketts, but look at Power just getting the ball inside the 50 again. And they are tough to mark when you stand underneath those, especially with a slippery pill.
18 possessions to Sam Power. He's actually got a bit better the further this game's on. Not that his productivity was lax early in the game, but he's just finishing this game full of running, Kevin.
That's what he's done in the two previous games. I think he, along with Luke Ball, have been the mainstays. It's hard to come up for 12 quarters in 7 days.
Big ask.
Those fellas have pretty well stayed on the ground the whole time and been vital to the Vic Metro's performance.
Peter, look at Luke Ball's stats. 20 possessions, 8 tackles for Luke Ball, which is, when you talk about work rate, you can often get a feeling for their work rate by the number of tackles they lay. And 8 is almost the second best tally on the ground. Young James Kelly's laid 9.
Yeah, the term that's come into the game in recent years has been inside and outside. If you're talking about inside players, well, he is an inside player, a player that wins it in traffic and pushes it out to the fellas that'll run with the outside type players.
Yep.
And Sammy Power's an outside player. He's one that'll link up and then use it magnificently with his vision and his kicking skills.
We've seen that today. Finnan wins the tap out to as far as Schuback, whose kick went just the 10. Mark taken by the skipper Bartel.
Don't forget tonight on C7, it is Brisbane versus St Kilda. Tomorrow, Geelong versus Collingwood. More great footy action coming your way.
A couple of scrappy kicks. Rosa got onto the end of a bad one, but his kick was picked off by Barham, who has to be pinged. Danced around a couple of tackles, then was a bit unlucky. Ball goes to McGough, who's been their best for Vic Country. That is a beautiful kick. He has been a standout, that young man, and has played a great game.
With his right foot, both sides of the body, Kev, hasn't
well,
he?
kicked the absolute ripper, didn't he? Just on the, it was the half-time break with that left foot kick. He started in the centre of the ground. That's about his 22nd possession. A couple of goals, whether it be at key forward spot, he needed to give them a lift across there and has done that. He's had an excellent championship. We've also seen him playing key defensive roles as well. He's from the Murray Bush Rangers, coached by Xavier Tanner, a former North Melbourne player, and managed up there by John Byrne, a former Kangaroos teammate of Xavier. A great job with their club and produced many, many draftees over the year. Josh Fraser being the biggest name of them.
As you can see, we've got about 6 minutes left to play. Harvey gets it forward. Again, it was Gardner getting to the front spot. High tackle on Harpo. He must take the free kick. Josh Rudd brings it to the members' side where Rosa is waiting and demanding the footy. Moves it on, kicks towards the 50. Front spot again was McGough. Good punch away from behind that time by the Vic Metro defence out in front of Brown and Ablett. And it'll be thrown back into play right in front of the famous old smoker stand. which may not be here for too much longer.
Oh, sacrilegious, Peter. Build around it, I say.
Progress, have you heard of that?
Well, I have, but it's not all for the good, is it?
Heinrich, Roden, Rosa, number 2.
Let me know when we see another Heinrich manoeuvre, will you?
No, I think we've already seen enough.
Okay.
Just on that subject, with the Commonwealth Games redevelopment here at the MCG, they're going to develop the Northern Stand and the Ponsford Stand. I think it would just be too difficult to build around it. That's what they're saying, isn't it?
I think you're right. I think that
you've got to be practical about these things.
You've got to be practical.
And I think we're all for tradition, but there will be some replication of the long room somewhere in the new stand, hopefully. Crow goes across the face of the goals and kicks it out near the TAB Sportsbet sign.
Gone out of it a bit, Rod Crow, but gee, he was good in the first 2.5 quarters when they had their backs to the wall, the Vic Metro blokes. He was standing tall and he was impassable. They went around him a few times, but when they went to him, he stopped the footy every time. He was terrific.
Well, I think if you're looking for players for the future, he'd be one you'd have a very close look at. He's capable with his size and athleticism of playing in key positions in AFL.
Heinrich released Kelly with a handball.
Sure, that was a Heinrich manoeuvre.
No, I think we've had enough of those.
Okay, I'll let it go.
How many times do I have to tell you?
Yeah, 3 or 4.
Incidentally, with TAB Sportsbet, Gary Davies, who's our good friend on Footy Focus with the odds every Thursday night. I should have had something with him on Wimbledon.
Yes, your love for or respect for the Belgian girl.
Justine Enna.
Can't she hit a backhand?
She's a wonderful player, and she's in the final against Venus Williams. Venus will go in as hot favourite. And, of course, if you're wondering about the tennis results, if you didn't see them last night, Patrick Rafter is through to the final, and his opponent is yet to be decided because the semi-final between Tim Henman and Goran Ivanisevic was interrupted by rain. Henman leading 2-1.
Yep, ball goes forward. Good mark taken by Gardner, who's been good. He's been good. He looks the goods, this young man. He moves well. He knows how to get in front. When he does, he invariably gets both hands to the footy and takes a mark. He kicks it long to the square. Ball in dispute, off hands, through for a point.
We sounded a bit like Jared and Hooksy on Sports Today on 3AW there, just bring you all the sports, not only footy.
They are in a league of their own, those two blokes. So if we could be likened to that esteemed duo, well, that's only a feather in my cap. Ball kicked outside 50, off hands. Ball again, he's just mopping up getting it. He's got plenty of it, and he continues to amass possessions. Uses it beautifully to Harvey, who probably hasn't had stacks of the footy. He's had 10 possessions, taken 6 marks, but he's done enough, shown enough, shifted. It just...
Yeah, they've mainly used him down in that pocket. We haven't seen him around the ground much at all. He is a goal sneak, but quite capable of being an on-ball rover as well, and he may well get that opportunity later in the year with the Northern Knights.
Nothing fluent about his approach, and he sprays it wide, through for a point. He's kicked 1, probably could have kicked 2 or 3.
Do you reckon he'd like it when things get tough?
Most redheads, yeah, most redheads do, don't they?
Would thrive.
They love a stink, don't they? Oh, that's a shocking kick out, and straight down the throat of James Kelly, and the man from Rupertswood should be able to bang it back over the fullback's head and kick the goal.
Where's Rupertswood?
That's a very good question.
Where's Sunbury? Rupertswood, I think it'd be at Salesian College. Rupertswood, Sunbury, I think.
Okay.
Comes through the Calder Cannons in the under-18 competition.
Are you happy to come from Rupertswood?
I think you would be, wouldn't you?
You would be.
Well, why
Nathan
wouldn't you
Buckley,
be?
I think Nathan Buckley might have gone to Salesian at Salesian College there for a year.
Bit of a hold up here. There's a blood rule.
Once in his about 16th or 17th year, spent some time up around that area.
How many schools did Nathan Buckley go to?
A dozen or so. His father Ray was a professional footballer and state director of coaching in the Northern Territory and the ACT in his junior days, and played in SA and played everywhere. And Nathan, as a young fellow, tagged along. Yep.
Well, he goes all right, Nathan Buckley.
Oh, he can play a bit.
He goes all right. Did he? What did Buckley do at under-18 national championship level?
Didn't appear, and I suppose that's the warning to all of the players that appear here. There's going to be, as well as there's 200 here, there's another 200 or 300 or 400 Nathan Buckleys out there dying to get their chance at maybe an AFL career, and they'll be the ones working hard back at club level saying, look, let me physically develop a wee bit more and I'll get past you. And Buckley was one of those. At 19 and 20 years of age, he took off. He became a Magarey medalist at age 20, but at 17 wasn't getting a game basically at a state level or starring at even a regional level.
James Kelly's kicked his second goal, as we saw, making the fullback pay for the mistake of the kicking in error. And with 23 minutes gone, it's Vic Metro leading by 28 points.
Dicketts did well, took it out of the centre bounce in front of Barham.
Make that 32.
Maloney holds it in. The umpire could have been cruel, but decided not to. Shifter, is there more? Do you think there's more latitude these days? For about 5 years ago, it seemed like under 18s or nothing. Do you think there's a bit more scope? We've seen Damien Peveril this year and Jimmy Plunkett coming up. Do you think there's a bit more, room in recruiters' minds to pick the mature age blokes?
Well, no doubt about that. I think most of the 19, 20, 21-year-olds will progress through the rookie list, though. They won't have been standouts at the under-18 national championship level or in state leagues. They'll think, gee, he's worth working on. So the Peverils will push in for 2 or 3 years and prove just by persistence and just by winning the ball week after week that they are good enough. They don't have the class and the overall polish of some of the others, but end up terrific league footballers. Mark Johnson's another one. Mark Johnson, in fact, played in national championships like this, but was still not picked. Played 2 years in a row for Vic Metro, but still no one picked him in the draft. Ended up just on a sup list and then a rookie list, so it took a long time for him to reach his football potential.
Was he in the same Vic Metro side as Jason Johnson? Were they teammates in that Vic Metro team?
Would have just about crossed over. I remember that Mark Johnson played with Brent Harvey up in Wagga. Yes, played the next year with in '96 as well. And that's unusual. He'd won even a club best and fairest at the Calder Cannons and still hadn't shown enough in the eyes of the people making decisions. And you can understand that. He had lots of things to still learn about the game. And just through probably good coaching and the environment there at Essendon, he's gone on to become a premiership player. So
recruiting pays off.
And recruiting is not perfect. Players are hard to identify.
Power, the last kick of the game to Roden, who appropriately took the last mark of the game. And Vic Metro, what's that make it? 8 out of 13 now for them? Is that championship number 8? Did you say 7 before the game?
8 out of 13. And David Dixon and his team of selectors can be pretty proud of their players. The game was a terrific game of footy.
Fantastic.
To see this skill level in these conditions shows that, look, 3 years down the track, there'll be 20 league footballers coming, 20 AFL players coming out of this game. Some stand out to you, like the Luke Balls and the Sam Powers. They've got all of the attributes that you're going to be after. Others will be harder to find. There'll be guys that might have been only bit players in the game.
Andrew Carazzo finished up with 25 disposals. Here he is with Crackers.
I've got him, Andrew. Well done. Congratulations.
Thanks, Crackers. It's a big day, and I think everyone's enjoyed the experience. It's been fantastic.
First time on the MCG, big crowd?
A couple of times we played against Queensland in a packing match, and that was my first time. But yeah, it's unreal. I can't ask for anything better.
Was tough early. Did you think you were in trouble?
Oh yeah, early on I thought we might be under the pressure a bit, but as the game wore on, it panned out, and I think it went our way.
Do you think you get drafted?
Do I think I will?
Yeah.
No.
No. If you're going to get drafted, who would you like to be drafted by?
Oh, Carlton. I'm back to Carlton, so that'll be all right.
Go away and enjoy yourself. Well done, Andrew.
I reckon we could find a spot for. They could find a spot for him down at Princes Park.
The Royal We. There it is, and there are the Vic Country boys in contrast to the champions. And
great story that, the Fijian youngster. He was terrific, David Roden. Shifter, is he? Will he be drafted for sure and certain?
Well, there's nothing sure and certain about the smaller guys, I suppose, but gee, he has got tremendous pace, agility, able to get out of trouble. And gee, you only have to look at the Tony Liberatoris of the world that do play at the highest level. But look, the clubs do look for, I suppose, the potential key position players and the taller types first. And the Rodens of the world normally have to push through later on.
There's only one thing we don't know about him, how he handballs. His disposals today, 16 kicks, no handballs. Let's have a listen to the song. And they are the champions as well, and brings back memories of Teddy Whitten leading the Vicks in that theme song when it starts with "Out we come, out we come, out we come to play." When the big V used to be in action, EJ used to lead them in the chorus.
What about the most recent chairman of selectors for the big white V? Was he as robust in his singing of the song after a game, do you think? Was he a bit more restrained?
I think anyone would suffer in comparison with EJ when it came to singing the Victorian song.
I think he did a reasonable job, though.
Let's head down to Crackers, and he has...
Maxie's son, your son in the Rock, you had a pretty fair game.
Oh, it's all right, yeah.
Were you a bit excited, were you?
I was a bit nervous before the game. It's been a good week, though.
Now, your old man played for, well, he played for Essendon, St Kilda and Footscray. Can you get drafted by Eddie?
Yeah, I'll go past Sunday Essendon, but I'll be happy to go anywhere.
Oh, well, you better get back and enjoy yourself. You better put on some weight. Your mum mustn't feed you.
Get in the weights room.
You probably need a drench. You probably got worms, you know, Joe.
Oh, something like that.
Enjoy yourself.
Thanks a lot.
Back to you, bloke.
And he has Justin Crowe with him. See, I finally got it.
9 hit-outs for big Justin Crowe. He didn't get a lot of the ball around the ground, but he had an impact in those in the stop plays around the ground.
You can just see he's lightly built, isn't he? He's going to take some time to reach his full potential as a player. It mightn't come till he's 21 or 22, but gee, he showed enough this week to be listed in that bracket of one to watch, Justin Crowe.
I wonder how the boys will celebrate, because a lot of them aren't old enough to go to the pub.
They'll just go back to a footy club. Someone will go in and buy it for them, won't they? They'll be allowed to have a little tipple. Are we allowed to encourage that sort of behaviour or
C7
not?
cameramen are poo-pooing your suggestion there.
You've won a national championship. You're allowed to have a light beer, surely.
Well, let's see. We might find out how they're celebrating, because here is David Roden down with Crackers.
I've got him there. Well, when you kicked that goal, we're talking to your sisters. You got a bit excited?
Yeah, it was a good goal. And they were probably just happy for me that I kicked the goal, and I'm just happy that the team come up with a win.
Now, Fatua Tata, you know him at all?
Fatua Fatai, I think he's a past AFL player.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he might be one of you blokes now.